Hey, good evening. Today is May 18th, 2026. This is the 6 p.m. version of Rowan County Board of Commissioners. Welcome. We're glad you're here today. Got a lot going on tonight, and we're always glad to see folks here with us. We're going to begin as we typically do. It's our tradition that we'll have our Pledge of Allegiance. We'll also have our Chaplain Taylor, if he'll come forward. He's going to provide for us what's called a solemnizing prayer. We always define this so those who haven't been with us before understand. Solemnizing prayer is for the commissioners. It's for us. It's not for you. You're welcome to listen. We hope you will. We ask him to come and at the opening of our meeting and pray for wisdom for commissioners and our staff as we make decisions that involve the entire community. So we'll have him do that again tonight. Commissioners, if you'll join me, we'll get started.
Pray. Lord, we come to today and thanks for this beautiful day provided for us so we can come to our county commissioners meeting tonight. We pray for our county commissioners, dear Lord. We pray that you've given the wisdom they need for this meeting tonight. We thank you for their dedication to this job that they do, the call to do, and the citizens call them to do. Pray you'd encourage them, strengthen them, dear Lord. We place this meeting in your hands tonight in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Chaplain Taylor, for being with us as always. We appreciate you. Commissioners, I only have one change. Item F, under our regular agenda items, I'm going to add an item F, closed session. Item F. Does anyone else have anything else? It's for attorney-client privilege. All right, if there's nothing else, do we have a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
So moved. Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Then the consent agenda is before us. Motion to approve consent agenda.
Is amended.
Yes, sir. Well, we didn't, I don't think we amended that, but that's fine. Motion?
So moved.
All right, and second?
Second.
All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. Public comment period. We've got a few folks tonight, so welcome. First for us, Bobby Kemp. Did I pronounce that right? Bobby, good to see you, our friend. Appreciate you being here.
I got just a few things tonight, and I know I told you last time when I come back I want to talk about the Department of Social Service, but I've had some more matters come in front of me that I want to speak about tonight. And over the time I've been coming here, I've tried to be respectful to everybody. I've never tried to say anything out that was wrong. I've never cursed or anything like that, and that's not me. Tonight I got a few things that's bothered me, and it has for some time, and so here we go. As y'all know that Google's moving down on Beatty Ford Road. Through the woods, I live 2/10 of a mile from that. I'm right there in the backyard. Now, Kannapolis is saying that it's not going to be a data center. I've done a little bit of research on that, and I've got some questions tonight, and you may not answer them, but I'm going to throw them at you anyway. Google is a data center project in North Carolina. Old Beatty Ford Road leased for industrial warehouse, not data center infrastructure. The project has been promoted by local officials and a majority economic investment, bringing high-tech presence to the region. I guess you folks would be our local officials. They leased this place for 88 months. Is what they leased it for. And they also have got the first rights to a 1 million square foot piece of property that's right beside of it. My question is, what are they going to do with that 1 million square foot piece of property? Now, they say that they're not bringing a data center there, and it's going to be warehouse and logistic. Well, I looked up some of that. Google Supply Chain Logistics, a mission to help organizations harness the power, data, and AI to drive more intellectual logistic operations and supply chains. We partner with, this is Google talking, we partner with leading supply chains and logistic teams to enable substantial efficiency and resistant data-driven operations. So it sounded like to me they got plans on doing something there. I don't understand why they rent a place for 88 months and they go ahead and put an option on the land beside of it. They got the first rights on it. My question is, here it is in Rowan County. I know Kannapolis is saying that that's Kannapolis, but that's in Rowan County. My question is, has there been any zoning permits put out on that other piece of property? Now, I feel like we got snookered on Long Ferry Road. We didn't get the truth, that things didn't come out like it should have. The public should have been more involved on that. They should have known more about what was going on. So my question now is, what about the zoning and the building permits to that other piece of property? Now, if they're gonna move in this piece here and for 88 months and slowly develop that other piece of property, and everybody's sitting around saying, well, what they gonna put there? We don't know. They bought the land, but they got permits, they can do what they want. I'd like to know what they're gonna put there and what's gonna happen there. Because I'm concerned about my health. As y'all know, I've had cancer, 2 types of cancer. I deal with it every day, and I would like to know what's going on there because it sounds like we're fixing to get snookered again. And just a little bit on our taxes. I got to hit this real quick. I got 23 seconds. But Mr. Eds, I always try to go to a man face to face and tell him if I got something to say. It did not work out this time as to where I could do that. I did try. So here I go. As we look at this, and I look at you as being a businessman and having your State Farm Insurance Agency, and I looked it up and I see where that you have had the opportunity to win all kind of awards and everything there. Now, I've heard people get up here and say that they felt like that there was some money changed hands on Long Ferry Road. I never would have thought that. I don't think you would ever use your position to try to make money until I read something. It says here, and this is your wording here, said that you're also a current chairman for the Rowan County Board of Commissioners. That's what you've got in your statement at State Farm. Now, when our property taxes go up, insurance rates go up, and ever who's selling that insurance is going to have a bigger commission coming to them. And that's the way I look at things, sir. It's coming out of the county's pocket. If you got insurance companies, you know, the commissioner's ruling is if you've got anything to do with it, you shouldn't vote on it. We got 2 people on the board, it's insurance people. They should never voted to raise our taxes. That's how I feel about it. But your words were about this Chairman's Circle, the Bronze Tablet Award. All that stuff's great. All that's wonderful. And then you come right below that and say, I'm the current chairman of the Rowan County Commission. We focus on auto insurance and homeowners insurance. If I'm out to look at something and I pull it up on the internet, that's going to be kind of impressive to me. This man's the chairman of our commissioners. I'm going to talk to him about getting my insurance. Sir, I don't think that's right. I don't think that's right. I'm just laying it out. Taxes go up, homeowners insurance goes up, agents make bigger profits. And also, sir, I want to make this comment too. You used the word safe one time, and you and I talked about that. And right now, I'll be honest with you, I do not feel safe about you going to Raleigh. I don't feel safe. That's all I got to say tonight.
Thank you, Bobby. Always good to have you here. Next is Sal Sorbonne. Sal, welcome. We're glad you're here.
How y'all doing tonight?
Hey, you go in and wear that T-shirt up here.
Y'all notice how hot it is? Y'all notice that there's a drought? You think that raising the ambient temperature of our area would be a smart thing to do, considering the condition of the earth right now? Y'all ain't noticed there's some bad stuff going on? Fires, drought. Y'all notice that? Any of you? Y'all pay attention to anything? How about it? You think it's a smart thing to do to add to the earth? I mean, do y'all have grandchildren? Do you have kids? What type of earth y'all trying to leave your children? No? No kids, no grandchildren? Just gonna sit there and smile?
None of your business is what it is.
Yeah, I bet. I got a question for you. How come you got up and walked out on
None
me
of your
last
damn
time?
business. Just like
Why
I
did you
said,
get up and walk out on me
smart-ass.
last time?
Smart ass.
Oh, yeah, you think that's nice?
Yeah.
Huh? You gonna
Yeah.
cuss me twice?
Hey,
don't care.
hey, enough, both of you,
You need
enough.
to take that damn shirt off. Is what you need to do.
How about you mind your business? How about that?
I don't have a business.
Hey. Mr. Sorbonne, we're glad that you're here to make comment. This is
I was until he cussed me again.
I understand.
What are you gonna do about him cussing me?
I've asked him to stop.
That's it? That's it?
Do you
What
want
are
me?
you going to do about it?
Hey,
That's it? Yeah.
hold on. We're going to take a 1-minute recess, okay? We're going to let you finish, okay? We're taking a 1-minute recess until everybody calms down.
Yeah, you need to handle your voice.
Sir, I'm here. What happened here? Okay. We want to respect your time, and we want to give you an opportunity to
Well,
speak.
if-
Okay, no. I'm on your side here, okay?
I know that.
All
I see
right?
that.
So we're going to take a minute. So
right.
you want to have a seat on the front
Yeah,
row?
sure, you're
Okay,
good.
okay. We're going to take a minute. Would you start the clock? I'll watch a minute on my phone.
Don't add it
I'm not.
on. Yeah, you are.
I got 3 minutes to speak, bud. 3 minutes. That's it. That's all I ask is that I get my 3 minutes without being interrupted or walked out on. That's all.
Time to call the boards and
This is
marching
our
orders.
house. Don't tell me to say what I'm gonna say and leave. And don't touch me. Do not lay a hand on me again.
Do what?
And please step away from me.
Well, he's
I
not
don't
gonna
need
sit
you
here
here
and
in
accuse
front of
me
me.
of
You
nothing.
mean nothing to me.
I'm not listening.
Zero. Why am I getting harassed here?
We're not. We're trying.
This man just told me to leave.
Okay.
He said, say what I gotta say and leave. How is that right? This is our house. This is our place. And I'm being harassed by you people, and I've had enough of it.
Okay, would you, we're going to take another minute of recess. Could I get you to have a seat? And then we're going to start with you. We're going to give you your 3 minutes, okay? Have a seat. We're all going to calm down.
What are you staring for, bro? Literally, what are you staring at?
Hey, this is not helping. Sal, we want to give,
He's sitting there glaring me down like he wants to piss on me.
Sal.
I mean,
Sal.
like that.
Sal, we want to give you your time, okay? We do. All right? All right. We're going to start over. This is the Rowan County Commission meeting. And the date is May 18th. We're at the 6 o'clock meeting. We are in public comment. And public comment is a really important part of this meeting. Public comment is for you guys to talk to us. Now, someone came up last time and they started asking us questions. And so you understand about public comment. Public comment is your time to tell us what's on your mind. It's not our time to argue with you. It's not our time to comment back to you. This is specifically your opportunity to speak to us and tell us what's on your mind. So we apologize for speaking back to you. That won't happen again, but we do want to hear from you, okay? So Sal, we're going to start your 3 minutes over. So please, Sal, welcome.
I just want to let you know that that question was rhetorical. I was not asking you whether you had
No,
children.
that's
I was
that's
saying,
fine.
do you guys have
No,
children?
I'm saying because some folks expected us to get into a conversation, and we
No, I just
We don't
wanted
do
to
that.
know if you guys cared for the future
Yeah.
for your kids.
Yeah,
That's
so good. All right,
I don't
well-
care whether you people have children or not.
well, go ahead.
Okay, so last time I was here, which was 2 meetings ago, you guys discussed the moratorium, right? So you said personally, you came up with a list of things that you would do to the next data center, all the safeties involved in it. So you said none of them will go to the Long Ferry site, none of them. You will not be able to put any safeties in for the people that live on Long Ferry. So that's what you said last time. So what are we supposed to do? What are the people that live on Long Ferry supposed to do? Do you all expect us just to live there and get sick and have health problems from that? Or, you went to meetings to split up the Long Ferry site in between Spencer and East Spencer and Salisbury, so that way you all could get a cut of the tax money, right? That was in a FOI thing, okay? So did you guys think about the people that live around there at all? Did you guys put a package together to maybe buy the houses around the area so people wouldn't have to die from all the health problems that that place is going to cause? Or did you just think about the corporations and yourselves? Is that all that you thought about until we demanded a moratorium? Is that the only thing you guys thought about? Nothing about the people that live out there. Has the water situation been solved out there yet? $80-something a month for water that we don't use, that's not usable. Have you figured that out from 2 months ago? Has anything been done? I don't think so. But you guys are hard at work getting these data centers pushed through, aren't you? But you don't care about the people in your county whatsoever. Until we, the people in the county, told you to do something about it, none of you people had the foresight to do any safety precautions for the people. None. But you catered to the big corporations mighty fine, didn't you? They can do anything they want on Long Ferry Road, you told me. Anything. Noise, water, anything that they want. 3.5 million gallons a day in a drought. And you guys are going to give them our water. What about, literally, what about us? My place is a couple hundred feet from there. Do you care about anybody but yourselves? Do you? I don't even have anything to say left to you. I'm not even going to come here anymore because I get these looks from you people every single time. Not one of you people cares about your constituents, or you wouldn't be doing this to us. You just sit there with these looks on your faces that says you do not care. How about you get that oil tanker off the edge of my property? How about you do that? Everybody go past my property and look at the oil tanker. It's been sitting there for 4 years that Greg Edds was told about 4 years ago and did nothing about. There's a 500-gallon diesel tank leaking into High Rock Lake that you were notified about years ago on my next-door neighbor's property.
Time's up,
You're
Sal.
asking me about whether I think you should do something about it.
Thank you, Sal.
Thank you, Chief.
All right, we'll move on. Gabriel Parrish and Simona Cantrell. I hope I... Okay. All right, that's fine, thank you. Kat Nolan. Kat, thank you for coming.
Thank you for allowing me the chance to speak here. I've lived here for a long time, and I thank you so much for recently passing the data center moratorium. I'm thankful to live in a place where I'm allowed to speak and knowing our voices are heard. I thank you for listening to us. I'm here today to ask you to take the time during this moratorium to place some protections on air, water, and also utility rates for residents.
Sorry, I'm sorry. So, very sorry.
I have it written down so
Okay.
I don't lose my place. Yeah. Thank you.
Sorry.
I've come to learn that we have more of a corporation-focused finance structure, and that is unsustainable for this county. The financial burden of growth has been placed on our backs, and we're watching trees get ripped down and water get poisoned. Meanwhile, corporations get tax breaks and financial incentives. Placing corporate interests above your residents is leading to a future in which there is no clean air, no clean water, and no ability to live. On May 6th of this year, a health profile for Rowan County was published and showed that we score lower than the U.S. average on environmental risk by 6 points. And the data center hasn't even been constructed yet. We are also already in a drought. It's time to shift our priorities and protect the people who pay you, not the corporations who are set to pay 0% income taxes by 2030. I have an example of an action that you can take now that will make a measurable difference in Rowan County. The practice of clear-cutting an entire lot has to stop. Replacing decades of growth with juvenile, often invasive tree saplings devastates entire ecosystems. I request that every construction or development contract moving forward include a clause to preserve as much old growth as possible. I've seen contracts include such language as requiring a 30% tree cover. This could be amended to require at least half of that to be from old growth. This change would maintain a portion of the existing ecosystem and provide actual cooling to the footprint, whereas 6-foot-tall new trees do nothing to mitigate the heat island effects caused by replacing nature with concrete. I'm asking you to focus on what's here already: the trees, the streams, the people. Protect what's here. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Kat. Next, and I think last, Laura Fitzgerald. Laura, thank you for coming. It's good to see you again. Welcome.
My name is Laura Fitzgerald, and while in previous times here I've come with written speech, and it's always been about the data center, I want to just have an authentic comment today off the top of my heart. And I just so everyone knows, Kat and I, who just spoke, we did not actually plan this out. So I came today to talk about tree preservation as well. I brought my daughter and my husband to Rowan County about 7 years ago because it was very natural and I really liked the environment here. And as I've lived here, I've seen lots of clear cutting happening. And while I understand that economic development and bringing subdivisions and more industry to this area is important, I think that there's a better way to do it. In areas like in Maryland, they plan to have certain parts of the environment saved when they're developing, and that would be old growth. They actually tag it off and make sure that it is not cut down. And here what I'm seeing appears to be just, I'm sure it's for cost purposes, but it seems like they just clear it all out, grade it, and then try to replant the trees afterwards. And like Kat mentioned, a lot of times those are saplings. They're not always going to grow. They're also not the native trees that were here before. Actually, I mean, this might be cheesy, but when I drive by and see big, 100-year-old oak trees cut down, it really breaks my heart. So I just came to talk about that, and I understand that there is this Inspire Placemaking Collective that is has been, I guess there was a $90,000, they're being courted here to help us determine how to develop better, and I hope that whatever recommendations they come up with are taken seriously. So, thank you.
Right. Thank you very much. All right, that concludes public comment. Thank you all. Now we've got some celebrations. I understand there's some young ladies here tonight. So commissioners, if you'll join me out front. Test, test. Okay. All right. I think our last time we had a great celebration with Salisbury High School young men. And tonight we get to celebrate a young ladies team, a proclamation honoring the Faith Academy girls basketball team. Would the girls, well, I tell you what, we'll call it, well, let me see. Let me read this first, and then as I say your name, if the girls would come forward one at a time. We have one of these for each of you. And is the coach here? Where's the coach? Coach, there's the coach. Coach, come on forward. Come on up now. How are you? Yeah. Howard. I go to church with this guy. You should hear him sing. You want to sing now? No, not now. All right, let me offer up a proclamation in the form of a motion honoring the Faith Academy girls basketball team. Whereas the Faith Academy girls basketball team has demonstrated exceptional dedication, teamwork, sportsmanship, and athletic excellence through an outstanding season, and whereas the success of this team is the result of the hard work and dedication of its student athletes, Ella Shank, Sarah Taylor Reddick, Aubrey Krotz, Elizabeth Fries, Brinley Christie, Elena Esposito Knight, Zoe Rakes, Sawyer Burns, Grace Strickland, and Paisley Austin. Wow, how about that, huh? Whereas the team achieved an impressive overall record of 14-2, including an undefeated 6-0 record in conference play, and whereas the team earned the title of Central Carolina Charter Conference Tournament champions through determination, perseverance, and strong competitive performance, whereas the team further distinguished itself by capturing the Carolina State Athletic Association Middle School Girls Division I State Championship, bringing great honor and recognition to Faith Academy and Rowan County. And whereas these accomplishments reflect the leadership, commitment, and guidance of head coach Howard Torrance, Jr., the second, right? And assistant coach Hayes Smith, now therefore be it proclaimed that Rowan County Board of Commissioners proudly recognizes and commends the Faith Academy girls basketball team for their remarkable season, championship achievements, and outstanding representation of their school and community. This, the 18th day of March 2026. And Coach, we have this framed plaque for you guys to hang in your school. And why don't y'all give them a round of applause, okay? So, Coach, why don't you tell us a little bit about your season and something about maybe the road to the Final Four, what that looked like, and then introduce your students to us, your players one at a time, and then we've got one of these for them as well, okay?
So this is my first season coaching middle school girls basketball. I've coached boys before, and so we had a long season of actual blood, actual sweat, and actual tears. We started off our season with some struggles. We lost 2 games, and it kind of got us down, but the girls fought hard. We had a really, really great end to our season, and we learned that we were invited to the state tournament, and then we swept through the state tournament. We had just a lot of amazing athletes. These girls really worked hard. There's a lot of the boys on the boys team who were saying, well, we beat you guys, and our girls would turn around and said, well, you guys didn't have a state championship. So these girls worked their butts off, and they had a great season. So starting right here, I've got Aubrey Krotz. I've got Elizabeth Fries, Sarah Taylor Reddick, Brinley Christie, Elena Esposito Knight, Sawyer Burns, and Miss Paisley Austin. These are our middle school girls basketball players.
So who did you play in the finals? Where did you all play, and what was the score, and anything you want to talk about in the finals? Oh, your parents know.
Yes. What was the last school? 42-27 in the state championship. We actually, that game, we started off horribly. A lot of turnovers. The girls were rattled. We just came in there, and we did not look very good. I called a timeout, and we kind of settled into it, and we picked the other team apart. And at the end of it, we had a huge blowout win. That was at, what school was that? Lee Park Prep. Lee Park Prep. They are in like Winston. Was that what that one was? I don't know. there were a billion games. I cannot remember where it was. Wherever it was, we drove up there and knocked their socks off.
Well, good. Congratulations, girls. Vice Chairman Green is going to walk over and he's going to present one of these. Well, I'll tell you what, why don't you just come this way and we'll shake your hand as you come by and he'll give you one of those. So congratulations. Yeah, so ladies, I'm sorry, we should have told you, stay up here. We're going to have our photographer get a picture that we can put on the county website, all right? Well, come on, why aren't you up here? Come on over here. Congratulations, Coach. Yeah. All right, so y'all come on around here and fill in, and then our very talented photographer will take a, yeah, thanks. We appreciate that.
Can I do one thing first? I'm so sorry. Here and the school and the mascot. Your team had this personally made for you because of all that you have done for this school and for this team.
All right, pictures.
Smiling. 3, 2, 1. Keep smiling. 3, 2, 1. Everybody else can take a picture. Well, now I'm going to take a picture.
All right, thank you, ladies. Congratulations. Hey, guys, we're going to stay up here. All right, we heard some stuff about social services tonight. So we do have some celebration about that. So let me talk to you for a second. On behalf of North Carolina Local Health Department Accreditation Board, now this is from David Stanley, the chair of the North Carolina Local Health Department Accreditation Board. I'd like to congratulate Rowan County Health Department for achieving accreditation status as determined during today's board meeting. The focus of North Carolina Local Health Department accreditation is to assure that core public health services are provided by all local health departments to promote quality improvement and to add value in local communities. By achieving accreditation status, Rowan County Health Department is united with all accredited North Carolina health departments in having capacity to perform at the prescribed level of quality related to assessment, policy development, assurance, facilities, and administrative services. Accreditation Board is a true appreciation for the hard work completed by your governing board and health department staff. Achieving accreditation is an accomplishment that your health department and community should be very proud of. Rowan County Public Health partners with schools, faith-based organizations, local nonprofits, and healthcare providers to promote holistic well-being. Initiatives like school-based immunization events, outreach for prenatal and pediatric care, and opioid response programs demonstrate the department's capacity to build trust and respond quickly to emerging health concerns. Ultimately, what makes Rowan County Public Health distinct is its deep-rooted connection to the community it serves. Staff members are often residents themselves, fostering a culture of empathy and accountability. By balancing innovation with grassroots engagement, Rowan County Public Health continues to be a responsive, resilient force in improving health outcomes for all of Rowan County. So I'd like to invite Alyssa to come forward. So what I'm told by, I think, is Derry still a board chair? Is she? Of course you would be. Yeah. Derry told me tonight that we are the only county in North Carolina to score a perfect score. Yeah. So how wonderful is that, right? So they won the horseback riding competition, evidently. No, what is this? Oh, with honors. Wow. So there's this plaque. And why don't you come over here? This plaque by the authority of the North Carolina Local Health Department Accreditation Board, Rowan County Public Health is hereby awarded accreditation from 2026 to 2030. There is that, and here is your with honors ribbon. And would you like to have your board come forward? Yeah, you guys come forward. And here, I'll take that, and you take the microphone and tell us what you want to tell us about it.
Wonderful. Well, good evening. I do want to recognize my wonderful board members who were able to join me tonight. So I have Derry Caldwell, who is our board chair. We have Dr. Amy Wilson, who is our board vice chair in the physician position. We've got Carla Rose and Dr. Mike Fuller. And so very thankful for their leadership in making this happen. It was a 6-year process. We looked at 147 different benchmarks. And each year we are held to a standard to ensure that we are providing the best services for you all, for Rowan County as a community to protect and promote and prevent disease. So very, very thankful for this accomplishment. My team did so much work, and we're thrilled to be able to share this and have this award and the ribbon showing that we are accredited with honors for Rowan County.
Thank you. We are very fortunate to have Alyssa Harris as our Public Health Director for Rowan County. She is brilliant. She has a great team, and they work very, very hard, and they care the most about the health of our community. And we're just very blessed to have her and hope we can hang on to her for a long time. Thank you.
All right, we're going to, here, Derry, you hold the horse ribbon. There you go. All right, we're going to get, yeah, I know. Well, we're friends.
All right, our next honor is a proclamation for Emergency Medical Services Week 2026. All of those folks that will come up. So I'll start out reading this proclamation, and this will be in the form of a motion. Proclamation Emergency Medical Services Week 2026. Whereas emergency medical services is a vital public service, and whereas the members of emergency medical service teams are ready to provide life-saving care to those in need 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and whereas access to the quality of emergency care dramatically improves the survival and recovery rate of those who experience sudden illness or injury, and whereas emergency medical service fills healthcare gaps by providing important out-of-hospital care, including preventive medicine, follow-up care, and access to telemedicine. And whereas the emergency medical service system consists of first responders, emergency medical technicians, paramedics, emergency medical dispatchers, firefighters, police officers, educators, administrators, pre-hospital nurses, emergency physicians, trained members of the public, and others out of the hospital medical care providers. And whereas the members of emergency medical service teams, whether career or volunteer, engage in thousands of hours of specialized training and continued education to enhance their life-saving skills. And whereas it is appropriate to recognize the value and accomplishments of emergency medical service providers by designating Emergency Medical Services Week, and to acknowledge that 2026 marks the 52nd anniversary of this observation, recognizing under the theme Improved Outcome Together. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the Rowan County Board of Commissioners recognize the week of May 17th through 23rd, 2026 as a Medical Emergency Services Week, this the 18th day of May 2026.
All in favor, say aye.
Let me, recently I kind of transitioned in my job a little bit, and I work a lot closer with paramedics now, the EMTs, than I did before. And it's just amazing to me that just how much they care about their jobs and what they do. You know, as a police officer, sometimes we're like, hey, let's call the paramedics, we can just dump them on them. And it's sort of a thing that happens, you know. Not that I've ever done it, but I've heard about the other officers doing that. And but they, you know, the things they put up with, and I tell you, you know, when I first started, people kind of liked the paramedics somewhat, but now they're not as liked as much as they used to be, because I think public safety people in general are being under a lot of scrutiny, and you know, we even have to buy bulletproof vests for our paramedics now. So they're out there on the front lines like everybody else, and it's becoming more dangerous every day, and there's being more asked of them. Everyone calls 911 for everything now, and so, you know, being able to do what they do is really of a calling. You know, I mean, you know, they're not doing it for the money, obviously, and it's just, you have to have a real passion for people, for humanity, to be able to go out and do what they do. Like I said, I see them every day, and I'm just in awe of what they do. I don't tell my police friends that I said that, but they're a good group, and you know, there's some angels that God sent to earth. So anyway, that's the way I feel.
TJ?
Thank you all. This is a wonderful group of people that we have working for the county. Everybody should be proud of them. They're here no matter what time of day, no matter what the issue is, with a very caring attitude and just an interest in making sure that everybody's safe. They see things that no human was ever meant to see, and they take that home each and every day, and they still come back the next day to continue to serve. And I'm very proud of what they do.
Yeah, thanks, TJ. Chief, you know, I tell our academy when they start every few weeks that in the first couple of weeks, to his point, they'll see things that no humans ever meant to see. You know, and I also tell them that this year alone, we'll respond to approximately over 30,000 calls for service. And I tell them that's 30,000 opportunities to make a difference in somebody's life. And unfailingly, they do it each and every time. I could not be more proud. Rowan County's got some really good paramedics, some great EMTs, and we are so far advanced, so far ahead of what so many other EMS agencies are across the state, and I'm so proud of them. So thank y'all for everything you do. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your dedication and your professionalism.
Smiling. 3, 2, 1. Still smiling. All right.
Another round of applause. Well, thank you for your indulgence. So far, this has been a delightful meeting.
Ain't it though?
And it just gets better. All right, we're going to have continue our quasi-judicial hearing for SUP 03-26. Yes, yes, I got you.
Well, you know, if you've got two different ones. I'm not sure we got a motion for basketball. What are we doing? He just don't know.
Here you go.
He'd be in the back of that pickup.
The hearing for consideration for SUP 03-26 is now in session and will focus on an application submitted by Simona Cantrell to accommodate a canine training and boarding facility at 1205 Mount Vernon Road, further reference as tax parcel 720032. You feel that any member of the board may have a conflict of interest in hearing the case, please address the board now prior to any testimony or information being presented. When the board enters into deliberations to decide the case, no further testimony may be presented. The board will render one of the following three decisions. 1, approve the permit as requested or with additional conditions. 2, continue the request. Or 3, deny the request. All parties who plan to testify in this case may come forward and be sworn in. Those who testify must state their name and address the podium for the benefit of the board's clerk. All materials presented must be given to the clerk and will become part of the record. This board can only accept sworn testimony. No hearsay evidence is admissible. And Mr. Poplin will be presenting for us.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As y'all may recall, we started this hearing back at the April evening meeting, and then it was tabled to today to give the applicant a chance to work with the neighbors and amend their site plan to address some of the issues. But for a recap, this is SUP 0326 at 1205 Mount Vernon Road. The owner and applicant is Simona Cantrell, and the tax parcel is 720032. So the request is for a dog kennel and training facility. So as you might recall, this was the site plan that was brought here last meeting. And since then, the applicant has amended it slightly here, and I'll show you the difference. So it may be a little bit hard to tell, but the primary changes to this site plan are the larger building being proposed has been moved back 50 feet from the original 100 feet off the property line. A row of trees has been proposed in front of all the buildings. And then the fences for the dog runs are now a opaque fencing material instead of just a opaque, can't be seen through. So like a vinyl fence instead of a chain link fence. The other aspects about the site plan are the same. It's still dog training and dog kenneling. It's still a smaller, around 1,000 square foot building as phase 1, and then a larger up to 6,000 square foot building in phase 2. They also provided an alternate view of this site plan so you could see how it lays on the land. But other than that, just a reminder, there's 3 special use requirements for a dog kennel. And then that's going to be that a site plan is provided, which it was, that everything is 100 feet off of any property line, which all operational areas are, and that there's screening and buffering regardless of the distance between it and any kind of adjoining property, which it does meet all the screening requirements. So procedurally, we need to reopen the quasi-judicial hearing. Then you'll have to make a motion to adopt findings of fact. You have example findings provided for you. And then you can motion to approve with conditions, or deny the request. And then just a couple comments here before we're opening up the quasi-judicial hearing. Some things to consider is one, that dog training itself is an allowed use in the RA district as a home occupation, and the applicant is constructing a house out there. So if this application is not approved, they still could come forward they could administratively get a dog training facility out there, but not dog kenneling. That does require the special use permit. And then other things that could be considered for conditions, should you want to look that way, is that since this is a 2-phase operation, things you could consider would be approving only a phase 1 and then requiring coming back for a phase 2, if that's something that the board would want to look at. But other than that, if you have any questions before opening up for the quasi-judicial hearing, I'm here. Correct. Right. Mm-hmm. That's correct.
Mike, I'm sorry, my mic wasn't on. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So in this case, we could do nothing. If they build a house, they can do.
They're currently building a house. Right now, they're building a house on the property. So they'll, if this isn't approved, they could still do the dog training out there, but they wouldn't be able to kennel the dogs.
Okay.
So would they would be able to kennel the dogs they're training though, right? Or not?
No, they couldn't keep them overnight if they don't have
They'd
this
have to go
approved.
home every day, I guess.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah, if they were training their own dogs, they'd be able to keep them in the kennel. They can't keep dogs for other people.
Microphone.
Let's hear what I have to say.
Not me
either. I just said if she owned all the dogs, she could kennel them there.
If they were her dogs, then they wouldn't even
Right.
need anything.
So she, as far as her training is concerned, she can train her dogs and she can train other people's dogs. We're just worried about other people's dogs at this point.
Right. She could train her own dogs. She could train other people's dogs. But the special use permit is required for dogs to stay overnight.
Well, yeah, hold on. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What is the difference between them being able to train them and then house them? What's the requirement differential?
So the requirements are pretty similar. It's going to be, it's both going to be 100 feet separation from property lines, and it's going to have that required screening, where a regular RA use is, or regular home occupation is only going to require screening within 200 feet of a house. Here, the screening is required regardless, and that standard is the same for both the dog kenneling and the dog training. The only real difference between the special use requirements or the requirements for both are pretty much identical. The difference is you can do the dog training if you live on the property as just a home occupation, where dog kenneling, you have to have a special use permit.
Okay.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right. So we've got two ways of approaching this. We can just discuss and, oh, we got some speakers.
And you never do that.
All right. This kind of surprised me, Jay. Well, I got it. There's two ways of handling this. We have done the hearing and we've heard the speakers. The commissioners could discuss and make a decision. Or there are people that are here that would like to speak again. And so we are always in favor of folks being able to speak. And so we're going to do that. So if you would please just hold your comments to a couple of minutes, that would be great. And no yelling, that would be awesome too. All right, so we'll begin with Caitlin Roll. Caitlin, it is good to see you here tonight. Caitlin, thank you.
Is that good?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you for hearing me out today. I actually did not see any of the signage or anything in the mail because, you know, I am a mom of two boys. I'm very busy. And you kind of get submerged into life. I moved to Mount Vernon in March of 2024 after struggling with my mental health for about a year and a half. It got really ugly there for a minute. I chose the house I'm in now because it's peaceful. We're out in the country again. I grew up on a dairy farm in Statesville. It was some of the best times of my life, being able to hang out with the baby cows and ride horseback. My horse was my best friend all up and through high school. So it was my choice to move to this house where it was peaceful and quiet, and cows were my neighbors, and we didn't have to worry about being too loud or, you know, a whole lot of traffic because we're not off of a main road. I can sit either in my backyard or my front porch and listen to the birds each morning and afternoon. I love being able to hear the morning doves. It's very nostalgic. And I love being able to watch the families of blue jays that occupy all 8 of my trees. The quiet greenery is very calming to sit with, especially when I'm having a day where I'm really struggling. To allow someone to build a kennel less than 1 mile from my house would not only disrupt the peacefulness with 38 plus dogs constantly barking day and night, but it would also increase traffic on a very narrow road that my kids actually occupy. They have friends up and down this road. My child, Aiden, often skates up to the church on his skateboard with his little ramp. It's a cut-through road, so some people do fly, but it's also a very narrow road. You cannot go very fast, especially if you have a wider vehicle, a truck, or a bus. There would be no changes to its upkeep, to my knowledge. That's a little scary and concerning, considering not just my kids, but other kids. And there are kids further on down the way near Cornwallis who I know run on a daily basis down that road. The increased traffic on a narrow road increases their likelihood of being hit by a car, which is not unheard of on Mount Vernon. I had a neighbor actually tell me that, you know, years and years ago, her sister was hit by a car up at the top near the church there. I'm also concerned for the safety of our pets if these dogs were to escape or break loose. If these dogs are being trained to hunt, while that is a great pastime that I'm sure we all enjoy, it could easily kill someone's pet in their yard or their small dogs. They could fatally injure some of the bigger dogs in the area. And will we as neighbors be able to hold this company accountable for the veterinarian bills and the trauma that their dogs have caused without incurring massive court costs, defeating the point? You know, as a mom, I'm pretty stretched thin, but if somebody hurt my dog and incurred me a huge amount of cost, that would be, I would have to put her down, and that's traumatizing for your children. The kennel company will also be using high-frequency dog whistles, which I fear might interfere with my dog that was recently rescued from Rowan Animal Shelter, who is still being trained. We have a lot of undoing to do with her. The whistle could cause her to slip through her collar or harness and possibly run into oncoming traffic due to the increased traffic in the area. She's already struggled through New Year's with all the neighbors shooting off their personal guns, but now there's going to be someone less than 1 mile away consistently shooting blanks. My poor dog's anxiety is not going to be able to withstand that, and I'll probably have to buy another couch. But let's not forget, if they win this approval, they get to continuously add on to this kennel without consulting any of us, so it could be more than 38 dogs. More dogs, more noise, more traffic, more smells, without much of a say from the people who live here, who are just trying to get through every day and raise their kids the right way. I hope you guys take that into consideration. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Aiden Selves. Aiden, thanks for being here, man. Hey, pull out, there you go. Step over to the side a little bit so we can see your handsome look.
I don't really have much to say. It's a little note, but this is basically all I have to say. Where I live is calm and quiet, and hold up, my hand. This paper got folded. I can't really read it. All right, where we live is calm and quiet, and we don't want up to 38 dogs constantly being allowed. I like to go outside all the time, and I don't want to hear dogs always making noise. My dog is already enough, and they're doing dog hunt training, and let's say one of my cats gets out. I don't want my cats getting hunted due to a hunting dog down the street. And me and my friend Asher ride our bikes to go fishing with this dog kennel. It will increase our chance of getting hit by cars due to the traffic.
Aiden, is that it?
Yeah.
You did a great job. Congratulations. Thank you. Let's give Aiden a round of applause. It's hard for a young man, young lady to get up and speak in front of a group. Tim McDaniel. Tim, hello.
Hello.
Yeah, glad you're here, Tim.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Tim McDaniel, and I live at 310 Willie Joe Road. That's about a quarter mile from the proposed dog kennel, and I also have a home directly across the street from the proposed dog kennel. I would like to have this put into evidence, and there's a copy for the commissioners. I hope I have enough. I only did 5, other 6 there. I stand before you tonight to address Special Use Permit 3-26. As the board is well aware under quasi rules, your final decision cannot rest on personal preferences or generalities. It must be anchored strictly on component, material, substantial, factual evidence. My testimony tonight focuses entirely on the applicant's failure to satisfy the first required pillar of the United Development Ordinance, public health, safety, and welfare. Public safety relies on predictable risk mitigation. When evaluating the commercial traffic generator in a rural zone, we must look at the unalterable physical limitations of the existing public infrastructure. I have personally taken physical measurements of the travelway pavement on Mount Vernon Road. The true paved surface width is exactly 14 feet, 8 inches. There is virtually no unpaved shoulder, no pavement drop-offs immediately into the steep drainage ditches and mature trees. To put a 14-foot, 8-inch road into proper perspective, we must look at the black letter safety codes. First, Section 503.2.1 of North Carolina State Fire Code explicitly mandates that any road serving as a fire apparatus access road must maintain an unobstructed width of not less than 20 feet. Mount Vernon fails this mandatory safety threshold by nearly 5.5 feet. Second, Title 19A of the North Carolina Administrative Code sets 20 feet as the absolute bare minimum travel for safety two-way rural secondary operations. By every established safety standard, our road is already heavily deficient for normal resident use. Introducing a commercial traffic generator onto this narrow pavement creates an active, severe liability. I have provided you with a packet of photographic exhibits documenting the daily operational reality of this corridor, and I asked that these be formally entered into the case record. Please look at Exhibit A, which is the wide-body, dual-wheel utility truck traveling on Mount Vernon Road. A standard truck or a client vehicle towing an animal trailer averages 8 feet in width on a road that is only 14 feet 8 inches wide. A single truck physically exceeds the total capacity of its travel lane. As you can see, its tires are forced to ride directly on top of the double yellow center line, while the outer fender hangs over the ditch line. Passing an oncoming vehicle without the pavement boundaries is a physical impossibility. The infrastructure forces mandatory lane encroachment into oncoming traffic. Exhibit B, this is the local Rowan County school bus on the exact stretch of pavement that this business is being requested. The bus completely dominates the lane from the center line to the edge line. There is zero margin for error. Forcing school buses carrying local children to play chicken with commercial client traffic and trailers on a road this narrow is direct quantifiable hazard to public welfare. Then Exhibit C and D, this documents the severe horizontal curves and rolling grade changes along Mount Vernon Road. This extreme geometry creates severe blind horizontals and dangerously short stopping sight distances. If a commercial customer slows down or stops within 14-foot, 8-inch pavement to execute a turn into the proposed facility, trailing drivers coming on those blind curves face an imminent, obscure rear-end collision hazard. And these two photos, Exhibit C and D, were taken directly in front of the proposed kennel. In the last exhibit, Exhibit E, finally, the state of North Carolina formally recognized this inherent danger. NCDOT has installed a widening road warning series paired with an official 40-mile-per-hour advisory speed plaque. This state acknowledges the risk of the geometry. We should not compound that risk by inserting a narrow turnover commercial destination into it. From a public safety and first responder respect, we must look at the incident management and scene liability. If a commercial delivery truck or a client vehicle faces a mechanical failure as a minor collision or drops a tire off the narrow pavement into the ditch, Mount Vernon Road is instantly gridlocked. There is no shoulder to clear the roadway. If a fire or medical emergency occurs at this facility or at any residential property further down the ridge, emergency apparatus will be physically blocked from passing. A standard Rowan County fire engine or water tanker cannot bypass a blockage on a 14-foot road. Mutual aid will be cut off. Law enforcement backup will be destroyed. We had our EMTs and paramedics up here earlier, and they were saying that they see stuff that no one should see. I was also in law enforcement, and we also saw a lot of stuff that we probably shouldn't see either, and so I am concerned for that. And the site infrastructure is structurally incompatible with the intensity of the request because the applicant cannot satisfy the UDO requirement to ensure public health, safety, and welfare for this community we respectfully request that this board deny special use permit 3-26. Thank you.
Thank you. Deborah? Hi, Deborah. Good evening.
I'm Deborah McDaniel. I live at 310 Willie Joe Road. Also, I'm part owner of that house across from the proposed dog facility. And
We speak into the mic for us.
I'm sorry.
That's all right.
And I was going to bring up the property values in the area. Tim and I retired to Woodleaf from Kissimmee, Florida, where it was super congested. For me to work in Orlando, to drive 11 miles took 1 hour and 45 minutes. So we love it up here. It takes me back to when I was a girl in a little town I grew up in. But we've bought several properties here now, right here along Mount Vernon. And the property values is a concern for us. I read the document value that was submitted, but my problem with that is it's talking about trends and market value things right now. But my concern is where is a match pair analysis that says a home of this size, this built or whatever, next to a dog kennel, the value of it versus a home of this equal square footage materials and stuff that is not close to that. What is the value difference? And I have not seen that in any of the documents. And I wasn't here for the first meeting, so I read the minutes. And in the minutes, I noticed that it was quoted that the property that the Cantrells bought, the value was $86,000. But if you look at the tax records, it's really, the tax value was $225,553. And on December 4th of last year, they paid $350,000 for it. So that was a little bit under what the value of the property really was in the minutes. The other thing is I have an email from a broker that I've talked to, and she said that North Carolina General Statutes, Chapter 47E, you have to disclose certain things, and that the odor, the noise, and flies, all of this stuff can become a disclosure and hurt the value of properties there. And I have an email to that effect. And the other thing I have a concern about is on the important site plans notes, number 2, it talks about flood. I had to look that up. In fact, we made an appointment with a lawyer at Hartsell and Williams and went in and talked to them. Flood means they have the option to do things in any order that fits their needs. And if you're running a business, your operation needs is make money. So flood means they can do stuff in any order they want. The other thing in note 4 was flexible use across the entire site. That also means they have flexibility. They can do phase 2 before phase 1. They can do training before doing the buffering or, the buildings. And so that was another question we asked the lawyer. And they said that was also true, that if this is approved the way it currently is with no set mandatory construction sequences and phasing, that they kind of can do things in the order they want, when they want, to meet their business needs, regardless of the impact to our community. And that's all I have.
Ms. McDaniel, thank you.
Thank you.
Gabby Parrish. Are you Gabby? Yeah. Well, I've got you on the sign-up sheet, so do you want to speak? Okay. That's fine.
Is the applicant going to speak?
Yeah, yeah, go ahead. Applicant can speak.
Good evening. Before I speak, I want to address two things. One is the correction that my business needs to board the dogs because I do advanced training and also train dogs from across the states. And also, if I just didn't board the dogs and just do the daily training, the people would have to drop them off in the morning, pick them up in the evening. There'll be several dogs, so that would actually cause more traffic. And I would also like to change this site plan because this is actually the old one, and I would like to see the updated one. Can you help me? The colorful one. This one. There you go. Thank you. Also, before I start, I ran into some technical difficulties with my presentation, so I printed out paper copies. Okay, here we go. And also, I would like to provide you with these documents where I have some statements from the neighbor that's right across the road, also supporting letter from one of my clients. I do also have property value impact and land use compatibility report, as well as approved commercial driver permit and approved septic permit. Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. My name is Simona Cantrell, and I am the applicant for the special use permit 3-26 on our 35-acre property located on 1205 Mount Vernon Road in Woodley, North Carolina. Before I begin, I want to ask you for your grace tonight. English is not my first language, and as a professional trainer, I am much more used to speaking to dogs than making speeches in front of a board. Joining me tonight is my friend and attorney, Gabrielle Parrish, who is familiar with my business and is here to assist me with addressing any technical matters. I have been a professional dog trainer for over 15 years. I am a certified canine fitness trainer, and I am currently working on my advanced certification as a canine behavioral consultant. I want to be very specific about my core commercial operations, as there is a common misconception that this facility will operate as a high-value commercial boarding kennel. It will not. My business focuses primarily on high-end structured canine training. In my line of work, a highly controlled, calm, and quiet environment is a strict mechanical necessity. Nuisance barking and chaotic traffic directly disrupt the advanced canine training and behavior modification I do. Therefore, a maximum environmental control is a must in our business model. I will expand on this strict operational criteria further in my presentation. I have established a partnership to train service dogs for Leashes of Valor, a nonprofit organization that provides fully trained service dogs to disabled United States veterans at no cost to them. This facility is specifically designed to provide the precise, controlled environment required for this type of advanced training, and this special use permit would allow us to increase the number of service dogs we can successfully prepare and place with veterans. Our goal is to build a professional, low-impact workspace that serves both our private clients and our community with the highest standard of excellence. My commitment to being a responsible asset to this county is already a proven reality. We host a monthly community event in Kannapolis in partnership with Foster Animal Hospital and a local rescue. This is a completely free public event where local owners bring their dogs to practice calm behaviors, ask training questions, and support rescue animals finding homes. This consistent monthly collaboration with elite local veterinary and rescue professionals proves our unwavering dedication to animal welfare and community integration. I listened closely to the community concerns raised at our last meeting. Taking that feedback seriously, I worked to develop a proactive, comprehensive safety and mitigation plan that went far beyond our original design. To ensure our solutions were completely effective, I reached out to discuss these updated plans and structural changes with our closest neighbor. After a thorough review of the modifications, they raised no issues or pushback to the solutions presented. In the packets I provided, you will find several key documents supporting our application: our approved NCDOT commercial driveway permit, our approved advanced septic permit, a presentation, and a supportive letter from a client. Finally, you will find a signed statement from the closest neighbor, which highlights our shared commitment to remain fair, respectful, and maintaining a positive relationship as members of this community. To demonstrate how our complete plan satisfies and in many areas completely exceeds every statutory requirement for a special use permit, I want to walk you through both the core foundation of our project and the significant structural upgrades we've added since the last hearing. First, we have proactively increased our property buffers and setbacks to maximize our distance from our neighbors. For phase one, the building will maintain a full 100 feet setback from the public right-of-way, which puts it roughly 250 feet away from the closest neighbor's house. For phase two, we have voluntarily moved the entire building footprint an additional 50 feet back from our original proposal. This adjustment guarantees that our operations maintain a minimum 250-foot buffer from the nearest residence at all times, allowing any incidental sight or sound to naturally dissipate long before reaching their home. This facility is structured from top to bottom to keep vehicle impact exceptionally low. First, our site plan ensures safe, professional, and adequate access. To guarantee the highest standard of public safety, our entrance was fully reviewed, engineered, and approved by NCDOT for a commercial driveway permit, which you can find in the documents I handed out. Under the state-approved plan, we are establishing a brand-new commercial driveway entirely separate from my private residential entrance, featuring a deep paved setback so arriving vehicles can pull completely off the public road before stopping. NCDOT has mandated extensive unobstructed side distances in both directions, and we are permanently clearing all frontage vegetation to maintain a wide open safety triangle for drivers. Second, our business model itself naturally limits traffic. We will not operate like a high turnover retail shop or standard commercial kennel with constant daily foot traffic. Instead, our clients drop their dogs off to stay with us for several days, consecutive weeks, or even months at a time. All client drop-offs and pickups are conducted strictly by appointment, meaning arrivals are staggered, standard daily vehicle trips will low, and many days there won't be any traffic at all. The facility is managed by K-9 professionals following strict industry-leading safety protocols. Safety is integrated in both our physical design and our operational handling. To ensure absolute containment and a clean aesthetic for the neighborhood, all designed outdoor areas will be fully secured by 6-foot fencing. Specifically, the fencing facing the road will feature a solid vinyl paneling to provide a robust visual and acoustic buffer. Furthermore, within the facility layout, individual outdoor runs will be separated by a 6-foot-high, solid, opaque privacy dividers to eliminate visual triggers and maintain a calm environment. Regarding operational safety, dogs will be only permitted in the exercise run under direct professional supervision. While utilizing individual runs, dogs will remain structurally secured at all times to prevent any potential safety hazards or unsupervised interactions. As professionals, we utilize double barrier handling, which means 2 doors or gates between any dog and unsecured area, and strict protocols to ensure zero risk of animal escape or public interference. While the facility boards a variety of dogs, the use is designed and managed as a quiet kennel. The building utilizes high-density closed-cell spray foam insulation through all wall cavities and ceiling penetrations. We consulted with engineers and professionals who design modern canine facilities, and closed-cell spray foam insulation is widely recognized as the industry gold standard for dog training and boarding facilities. While standard fiberglass allows sound to leak through air gaps, this high-density foam creates an airtight seal that is 425 times more effective at blocking air-transmitted noise. Scientifically, it is engineered to target the exact frequency range of a dog's bark, absorbing the sharpness and energy of the sound right at the source. According to data from the National Institute of Standard and Technology, this design exceeds the official industry benchmark for soundproof construction. Based on standard acoustic physics, a bark inside this building will be muffled down to volume of moderate rainfall by the time it touches the exterior wall. As that sound travels across the property, it dissipates completely. At 100 feet away, the sound drops to roughly 20 decibels, which is mathematically buried beneath the normal everyday ambient sound of wind, leaves, and rural background noise. In short, the physics ensure our operations will not disrupt the peace of our community. Beyond the building itself, we have engineered a multi-layered strategy across the property to manage both sight and sound. First, we are utilizing the land's natural layout. The structures act as sound barriers blocking noise from the road, and we have voluntarily pushed our Phase 2 building back to 150-foot setback to allow sound to naturally fade. Behind the facility, the land slopes upwards to a ridge line that hides us from view, backed by our own 500-foot private buffer of dense woods. Second, we are installing physical and natural buffers. Along the roadside face of the outdoor runs, a 6-foot solid vinyl privacy fence acts as an acoustic shield, paired with a staggered double-row planting of green giant arborvitae trees. Forestry research shows this type of year-round evergreen wall diffuses sound waves and reduces noise by up to 10 decibels. Inside, solid privacy dividers are an opaque mesh prevent the dogs from seeing traffic, wildlife, or each other, eliminating the triggers that cause barking. Finally, our professional management is the most critical layer. With over 15 years of experience, I know a quiet environment is a necessity for training success. Any dog coming strictly for boarding must pass a rigorous behavioral screening before admission. Dogs are never left outside to bark uncontrollably, and maintaining a peaceful, structured property is the core of our daily operations. Odor. To address soil quality and environmental concerns, our facility will utilize a Level 3 advanced treatment septic plant, which functions like a high-tech self-purifying water treatment plant rather than a standard septic plant. First, we follow a strict dry-first protocol. All solid waste is collected manually, stored airtight, and hauled completely off-site. Second, washdown water passes through heavy filtration to catch hair, followed by an oxygen injection process and an ultraviolet light system that destroys 99.9% of bacteria. By the time this water is slowly dispersed underground, it is fully purified and completely odorless. Finally, we use only bioenzymatic and hospital-grade cleaners that are 100% biodegradable, breaking down into nothing but pure water and oxygen. Far from harming the soil, this system completely protects the land, guarantees 100% odor-free perimeter, and ensures our environment remains perfectly healthy. Finally, to ensure our presence changes nothing about the night sky or air quality, our lighting and driveway are designed to be completely low impact. All exterior lighting will use dark sky compliant, fully shielded fixtures directed straight downward to completely eliminate light spillover and road glare. Additionally, our 12-foot all-weather driveway will be regularly maintained to ensure dust never travels onto neighboring properties. Every detail is planned to protect neighborhoods' comfort. To address visual impact, our facility utilizes strategic site planning and the land's natural features to remain entirely low profile. First, our buildings feature residential aesthetic tucked back at least 100 feet from the public right-of-way. Because all active dog runs are located strictly behind or to the side of the structures, the buildings themselves act as the primary shield from public view. Second, we are installing a dense native evergreen buffer of green giant arborvitae 40 feet from the road. Planted in a staggered double-row zigzag pattern, this creates a year-round green wall that completely screens the facility and parking from neighbors and motorists. Finally, the site is already heavily screened on 3 sides by nature. The left and right boundaries are protected by mature wood lines that will be preserved as permanent buffers. To the rear, the land naturally slopes uphill to a ridge line, completely hiding the facility from view. This combination guarantees zero negative visual impact for neighbors or passersby. Now, on a deeply personal note, I want to directly address the concerns about preserving our local farmland. My family purchased this property as our forever home. It is where we are soon going to be raising our family and planting our own roots. We love the rural character of this community, which is exactly why our land is currently enrolled in the county's agricultural farming program. We plan to keep it in this farming program for as long as possible. This proposed facility is not a high-volume, chaotic commercial kennel. It is a highly engineered professional workspace designed for advanced canine training and behavioral structure. Because our business model operates at such a low-profile, quad volume, it allows us to financially support and maintain this large acreage as true, protected farmland for decades to come, ensuring the land remains exactly as it should be. Furthermore, this space will allow us to continue our vital community outreach, provide our service dog training commitment for the nation's veterans, and provide an elite service to private clients. Every single system we have designed, from our high-tech, self-purifying septic system to our deeply set-back residential-style buildings, was chosen specifically so we could serve our community without altering the natural landscape. Far from destroying the store or the neighborhood, this facility gives us the resources to protect this land and be an exemplary low-impact neighbor for life. Thank you for your time and consideration for Special Use Permit 3-26. I am happy to answer any operational questions.
Oh, boy. Now you're going to speak?
I'll be very brief. I'll be very brief. Simona mentioned, my name is Gabby Parrish. I am a North Carolina barred attorney. I have practiced in Mecklenburg, Rowan County, Stanley County, as well as Cabarrus County. I have also lived in Rowan County for the past 5 out of 6 years. Time flies. Over that time, I have come to know Simona both professionally and personally, and I am familiar with the integrity of the business since formation up to now. She mentioned earlier that English is her second language, which I think you did a phenomenal job, and subject matter expert, and really presented well. So I don't know that you need anything from me. But that being said, she did mention the fear of speaking in front of commissioners or a quasi-judicial hearing when she has chosen a path that is four-legged. So I was happy to assist and just speak briefly to her character, the professionalism in this project. I believe that the evidence presented tonight demonstrates the required criteria is met and candidly very much exceeded. But what stands out to me is the amount of due diligence that has gone into this project. She has called me when she is driving by other kennels in different counties to see what they're using, what it sounds like, what goes on. She has worked with engineers, design professionals, financial advisors to minimize any sound, to talk about odor, to talk about any type of kind of consideration or concern that's been developed. She's invested in this upgraded insulation that I read about and had never heard of it, and candidly was very impressed. And she has discussed the plans with neighbors, heard concerns, gone back again to do everything she can to make sure that she is a good neighbor and enhancing the community that she, her daughter, and her husband want to live in for generations to come. And I think that, too, the fact that she will be living right next to the facility, she has, with a young child, more incentive than anyone to ensure that it's professional, quiet, and run in a way that's respectful to the surrounding neighbors. As someone who has trusted her with my own dog, I can personally attest to the caliber of care and structure and control that happens within the environment that she has created. It's a highly, highly managed environment. Beyond canine education, she mentioned that she provides dogs for veterans and service members who, whether it's PTSD, a mental or physical, from their time at service, she's providing these services, which again, I think we can all attest is incredible and helps the community and candidly everyone. So with that, I would just lastly say that I think this application reflects someone who has listened to concerns, who has put in a lot of work and effort to ensure the integrity not only of the neighborhood, but of the community as a whole. She's invested in the resources. She's demonstrated within the totality of the circumstances what this actually is, because, I've mentioned to her, people hear dog kennel and, the connotation isn't good. And, I said, once people hear what's going on, this is not your standard dog kennel. This is a high-end caliber dog training facility where she integrates mental games and stimulation. And, again, she's done this for 15 years, so she's the expert there. But just operating this board and train facility thoughtfully and in a manner that is respectful to the community and consistent with being a good neighbor is something I think she's exhibited, as well as, again, I think the standards have all been exceeded. So I would just respectfully ask the board to approve, and that was all I had. But I'm here to support her with any questions as well, anything technical. Thank you. Thank you.
I only have one question. I need to think of how to ask this. Does anyone else have anything?
I have a couple.
Go ahead.
Okay. So I wrote down some of the things I heard, some of the questions. So 38 dogs, is that what you're planning on having out there?
I don't know where they came from.
Okay. So
in the, I believe it was the very first document, it was said that the phase 1 is proposing up to 15 kennels, and the phase 2 is proposing up to 25 kennels. It doesn't mean it's combined. It just doesn't necessarily mean more traffic, doesn't mean more dogs, doesn't mean more chaos. It just means more indoor space for the dogs. I am a single dog trainer. I do it by myself. By capacity, I cannot do more than 3-4 dogs at a time. I did have my clients proposing that because they trust me and I'm the only person they would leave their dog with. They're like, can we please leave my dog with you? Because the regular boarding facilities are very noisy, very chaotic, and the dogs, after the training, it just decreases. And I just want to say that the number 25, it came from the septic permit, because we did very thorough examination of the land to see if it perks. It did not, and basically for our house to operate on the septic system and the kennels, that's what I wish our soil scientist was here because he could explain it better, but he said that what the septic would allow with the flow, like gallons per day per kennel.
Okay. Also heard about training hunting dogs. Do you do that?
I do gun dog training. I do specialize in retrievers. I do British style of training, which is very quiet, very organized, and very controlled style of training.
So so you'll be shooting blanks? You'll be shooting blanks as part of that training?
part of the training it is shooting blanks. However, majority of the training structure is control and obedience. So the shooting, the hunting, the actual reward for the dog happens at the end. So that's like a small portion of the training. And I do, like I did like a combined training, like I said before, I do a lot of, like I do behavior modifications, I do service dogs, and I do gun dog training, so I cannot have their 10 gun dogs.
Gotcha, okay. Does, so I assume you have since you have a business, you buy liability insurance?
I do, I'm fully insured.
And,
Not through us.
and I was trying to recall from last time, but I believe you said that at night they have to be inside, or you keep them inside a building at night?
Yeah, that is correct. They will have doggy doors from their indoor to outdoor run, but those are fully operated by me, and when it's time for them to go out for the last time, it's going to get locked, and they have no access to go outside until I come up in the morning and let them out. So, correct, they will be enclosed overnight.
Okay. And then, you talked about the service dog partnership in here with a nonprofit for veterans.
That is correct.
Is this one of the dogs you train, or is?
He's my personal service dog.
Oh, okay. And do you, how many of those do you train at a time, or is it just?
It depends, but it really just depends on the demand. Well, yeah. No.
So so the organization will have a client that, a veteran that needs a dog, and they bring the dog to you to be trained to work?
No, so they have breeders that they work with. They are, I think that in the next year they're going to launch their program where they will be breeding their own dogs. But as of now, they have breeders that breed dogs for them, and they send the dogs to foster families and trainers, and these people train their dogs, and then they are supervised by their trainers to like meet the criteria and everything. And then they also take applications of their veterans, and then depends what the veteran needs, they pair the dog with the veteran.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Couple questions. When did you purchase this land?
We started to look at it, it was August 2024, and we fought for it for a year and a half. So we bought it in December 2025.
August 24, and what? I'm sorry, I didn't understand.
We saw the land for the first time in 2024. August, we said we like it, we would like to purchase it. And then negotiations, perk tests, lenders, everything, we closed in December 2025.
And when you were considering this land, were you also planning for this business?
That is correct. I've been working on this project for over 2 years.
My question then is, if your intent was to do this business, I'm assuming that you would know that you would have to have some type of permitting. So most folks would go through the permitting process to make sure they can do what they want to do before they purchase the land. When you do it the opposite way, of purchasing the land with the intent of building the home and that business that has to be permitted, then, and this isn't about us, but it puts us in a really awkward position, because now you've purchased the land that you intended to build a business that you're not yet permitted on, and it puts pressure on us to, we'd like to, now we know there's financial problems afoot, right? And so you did things kind of backwards. And so once you purchase, you're already building a house?
Yes, we will be moving shortly.
Makes this even more difficult because you built the house, you're building the house, you're asking for permitting on something that is a hard decision. And I told you, I told the group last time of many of the big complaints that we've gotten over at least the 11 and a half years we've been involved is dogs barking. And this is kind of backwards, and it puts everyone in a really awkward position. We're, now fully involved in issues where decisions were made years ago, and now we're kind of waking up to that. So I'm trying to reconcile this. So,
if I may, and recognizing the sentiment is very valid, and I think hindsight, fortunately or unfortunately, is always 20/20. And I think, candidly, coming from another country, starting a business from absolutely nothing, having these plans, building your name in a place where you don't know anybody, I think does play a factor into that. And that being said, I think the ability to see the criteria and the ability to, these permits exist so that there are circumstances that different businesses and farming, whatever it is, can exist in these areas. And it's a dog kennel, it's not, she's not trying to sell it to a corporation or what have you or anything. So to your point, I think hindsight is absolutely 20/20, and if this were, a perfect world, that would have happened. But as it stands, I think with the circumstances being what they are and having the ability to move forward, that every step, every precaution, every I has been dotted, every belt and suspender is on. And, I think, again, where the decision lies, obviously, I've actually worked cases of barking dogs and people who want to throw somebody in prison because of a barking dog. Never once have I dealt in a circumstance where the alleged individual has not cared that the dog is, or excuse me, every circumstance is where the individual doesn't care that the dog is barking, and there is, it's generally hostile and such. And I think she's presented that this is the complete opposite, and that every level of insulation exceeds what anything would require. And I think, just in general, the sounds that are considered this facility is not at that level. So thank you.
You're asking us to approve tonight 2 different buildings. And you were talking about, your training is going to be limited to enough dogs to go in one building, and then the other, I assume, is going to be kennels. That's the issue I have, is if your training is going to be with 10 dogs, 9 dogs, which seems to me a lot, in the one building, the other building is not for training, it's for just kenneling. Is that correct?
Yes and no. The dogs there are currently training. Let's say I'm right here with a dog training. I need to be alone with the dog. So the dogs that are in training will be boarded in the boarding part, so they will not disturb the actual training that is happening.
And I think, too, just from a layperson perspective, for example, I mentioned I left my dog. I got my dog trained by her, and he's impeccable, but I wasn't going to go drop him off every single day and, have to go back and forth. So I think part of it, too, is that's kind of the business model, and that she keeps those dogs overnight. And even if they're just boarded, which generally, as she mentioned before, every dog that's boarded has undergone the behavioral cognitive test. She makes you give your vet bills, that they have all their immunizations, everything. So all of those dogs are even if, it's somebody that she's just boarding, she still takes the dog out to train and to do things. It's not, per se, the dog that's in the intensive 3-month program, but if it's boarded for a week, that dog is getting mental stimulation, and she's there every hour of the day taking turns with the dog. So, yeah, and she mentioned the screening. So,
Any other questions? Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
I had a lot to say.
Oh, boy.
I spoke, but I'm condensing it. I spoke last time, so you know how I feel from the minutes from that. 2 things that I wanted to talk about. The first, she was talking about all of the tree buffer and putting those evergreens in rows. That would take decades to grow. And I'm honestly not sure that would be very effective. And the reason that I say that is our driveway is about 1/4 of a mile long. And it winds down past 2 creeks and then up a steep incline to our home. About 1/3 of that has well-established dense trees and undergrowth. And even through all of that growth and that distance, the way the sound carries, I can still hear my neighbors talking, and I can distinguish which one it is, if it's male or female. When somebody turns off of my driveway, or off of the road onto my driveway, which is directly across from the site, directly where the biggest the first phase is supposed to be on this map, I can tell because I can hear the gravel crunch as they come off of that, so I know when people are coming in my driveway. So I'm just not sure that all of these buffers are going to help, and if the trees do help with that, it will be decades before they grow big enough to have any effect. We did talk to an attorney, and the fluid aspect of their proposal gives them a lot of leeway for expanding this facility, and there's no more community input after that. They can expand and they can add. And she said she had, I never did get clear on the answer for how many dogs that they were, because last time they did say up to 38 dogs, according to the man that was representing her. And then this time she said that she had kennels for 15 and then 25. Well, that's a total of 40 kennels. And somebody that's trying to start a business and make money, you would think you're going to take every dog, whether it barks or not, to make that profit. I just can't believe that, and maybe that's not what she's doing, but the boarding facility, you can't get non-barking dogs. And even the ones that she trains, they're not going to be where they are trained not to bark the first minute they come. That would take time, so I feel like there will still be noise, and the odor and all of that goes along with that. And also when we talked to the attorney, they said that really we didn't have much recourse. The neighbors did not have much recourse after this was established, because there's not going to be anything to keep. All the things she's promised sounds great, all of those things, but there's nothing that holds her accountable after the fact. So when the trees die off and the barrier gets thin, or when the septic system fails and the smell is unbearable, who's going to make sure these things are taken care of? They informed us that would again fall on the neighbors to make a complaint and or file a lawsuit if it isn't resolved. I don't want to be in a potentially ongoing battle for this. We just want our peaceful neighborhood. And in respect to what she said about talking to her neighbors, I have gone around and talked to every one of my neighbors that I can possibly talk to, and only one has been contacted. Only one. And I assume that's the one that has signed, and I have talked to them personally, and they don't want to get involved. They want to be neutral. They don't want to take either side. So I don't know what they have signed or what they have sent, and that may not be the same person, but every person that I've talked to have not talked to her directly, and except for two. Two have talked to her directly, and the one, it was not clear. It was made known that it was a training facility, but not a boarding facility. So until we came to the hearing last week, we did not realize it was going to be boarding also. Or last month, excuse me. But also, we went around and we have a petition, and it has 30 signatures from my neighbors that are surrounding this property. They are completely against this business and the second use permit being passed. To be completely transparent, we attempted to contact everyone that would be directly affected. Only 3 out of 33 people that we talked to did not sign. 2 wanted to research on their own and attend the hearing tonight, and 1 wanted to stay neutral. None were willing to say that they supported this business. And Mr. Eds, last time you said, and you said it again today, that is one of your most frequent nuisance complaints is dogs barking. We have over 91%, according to those numbers, of our community and the people on our road who don't want this permit to proceed because of that very issue and many other issues. This speaks volumes. We are welcoming to any neighbor that wants to live in our area and enjoy what we have, but when someone's trying to change our residential and farming zoning to support a business that infringes on the peace of our entire community, we can't just sit back and let it happen. And, I appreciate the fact that she's wanting to start a homestead there, and we would love for her to live there with her family, grow her family, and live and enjoy the things we have. And I sympathize that she's done things, like you said, a little bit backwards, but that's not our fault, and we shouldn't have to pay for that, and us not being told ahead of time or basically warned of what was coming. I think just that, I don't know, that just doesn't sit well. So if one piece of land, and it's not only about this business, it's about any business. Nobody that has signed this petition wants any business on this road. This is residential and farming. We want to keep it that way. And if one piece of land gains a permit for commercial use, it will make it much easier for other adjoining land to follow suit, and where we have built our lives will be completely changed. I just ask that y'all please consider the 33 people that signed this, and that's that's our whole community that signed this that doesn't want this. So, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. You promise?
I do promise. I appreciate y'all letting me have the time to speak here. And I did have a speech ready to present, but I'm just going to talk from the heart, and this will be quick. I'm just going to boil this down to a couple sentences. Number one, we welcome this young lady into our community. We want her to live there. Just don't bring the business and the noise with you. If you've got a business already established in town, keep it in town. That's what we're after. We want to keep this land rural. We want to keep it peaceful and quiet. And where I am in my life with my beautiful bride, we're on the phase 2 here. We're getting ready for grandchildren and retirement, and that's what we've been working hard for 27 years, to pay for what we have. And we have paid for it with hard work, dedication, and commitment to community, church, farm, and family. And our fences keep livestock in. They don't keep neighbors out. But fences don't stop noise and smell. That's what we don't want. Thank you for your time.
One thing I disagree with you on is you're in phase 3, not 2. Marriage, kids, and now grandkids. That'll be phase 3. All right. A lot has happened tonight. No, we're going to be done. Yeah. We've gone on 2 nights. So we'll close the public hearing. A lot has happened tonight. Been accused of a lot tonight. been accused of you don't care,
Taking bribes.
taking bribes, kickbacks.
Where's mine?
It's pretty bad.
You got it.
You know, we'll decide based on these merits, but this does open up. I appreciate y'all welcoming this lady in from a neighborly standpoint, and it appears that they're going to finish their home, and I hope y'all can be good neighbors. Things were done backwards in my mind, and it puts pressure on us to try to salvage something here. That's why we gave you an extra month. Try to see, is there something we can work out, and one side, I think, put great effort in trying to do that. But we do care, and there's 4 of us here. It takes in this case, it'd be 3-1. I can't support it. That's just me, based on the information I said last time and this time. I do have great compassion for the position that you are in, and welcome here. I mean, we welcome you here, but it puts other folks, like someone said, in a spot that was not their fault. So I'm going to be a no on this. That's all I'll say. And so up to the rest of y'all. But you could have training. We can't stop her from that. She could do training. The boarding thing overnight, from a legal standpoint, statutory standpoint, creates a statutory problem.
Well, we've had this twice, a lot of information given. It's really, a lot of it's, is what's it going to be? I mean, or we know what's planned, but what will really happen, is are the dogs going to go out there and cause a lot of problems for the community, or the dog's going to go out there and you don't even know they're there? I mean, now obviously dogs bark, so we know that some people are going to hear some barking somewhere. A lot of information was given, a lot of handouts. I do have some concern about that bus, that you guys saw a picture of the bus. Jay, can we send that to the school system? Because
you need to send DOT.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the school system's the one that decides whether or not the bus goes down that road, because if that road's not safe for a bus, they probably should be told that, not quit sending buses up there, right?
We could widen the road so you can get bigger vehicles down the road.
But you get back to the point of, we come to this thing all the time of, property rights, and it's the property rights of the people that own the property, and also the property rights of the people around the property. And so, I don't know. I don't know where it'll be, but I'm personally willing to give the lady a chance if she wants to build her kennel. It's obviously no one's going to know till we get there, till it's done. I mean, there's some really horrible things, well, not horrible, but there's some things that could be built out there because she lives there that would be really loud. I mean, she could have an auto mechanic shop out there on her property if that's what she wanted, as long as she was running that as her business. There's several things that could go out there, and as y'all mentioned, she can still do some dog stuff. So, obviously these things are the ones where you just try to balance out the best you can. But I would fall on the support side.
Well, everyone doesn't have.
Is that a yes?
I think that's a yes.
Okay, just want to make sure. Mr. Chairman, I'm in a unique position here in the fact that I have a rooster that starts at 2 o'clock in the morning next to my house and does it till noon. Contacted Animal Services, they don't do nothing with roosters. Okay, they do with dogs and cats and that kind of stuff. But also, I found that the sheep farm that's across the street from my house, that the dog barks all night long, they don't do nothing about that either. So I can understand her wanting to have her animals close. And there is a lady, I'm going to give you her name when we leave here, that I want you to talk to that's been very successful with this. And she also has a program for the vets where she teaches them to have animals like you do to help you. And you might want to check with her. She may have some, she's got an awful lot of land out there where I live, so she may have something that y'all could work out to keep the dogs overnight. I don't know about any of this stuff. I just know the noise they make. But at the same time, you made a comment that kind of caught my attention when you said you had a soil engineer come out and look at your septic system. I've been bombarded for the past 2 years with every contractor in this town calling me about soil engineers, their fees, because our inspection department can't, or environmental can't seem to get there. So I have a little bit of empathy for you on that because it shouldn't have to go through that to get a permit for septic. But I have experienced animals that are a nuisance. Not just where I live now, but the house I used to live in and the house before that one. So I'm used to dealing with it. And I got to say, I empathize with you folks. I really do, because I wouldn't want it in my neighborhood either. And I feel like you maybe should have done a little better due diligence before you actually bought the property, which is to go meet your neighbors and tell them what you're wanting to do so that if there's an issue, you can work it out before you make the purchase. That's just what I would have done, but, you know, I do things different from most people, as y'all have seen. So I just cannot, in good conscience, bring that to come around. Now, what I would suggest, and our chairman made good comment about it, is go ahead and open up your training facility. Let them see what that is. And possibly, as time moves forward, you'll be able to work out something y'all can both live with that will give you what you want and will give you what you want. I don't know that that's possible. I'm just saying that'll give you some time. I'm not going to vote to give you the kennels, but I will vote to give you the training facility.
I have a lot of the same problem. 40, allowing somebody to have 40 dogs reminds me of when I bought my house, not too far from this property. Dr. Henson had fox hounds that he kept out there, and I don't know how many there were, but there were enough that you could hear them for miles around. And thank God he moved them back towards Statesville, and I didn't have to put up with them very long. But that's what I have an issue with, is just the total number. And it's not that I'm not taking this person at their word, but just keeping dogs in a building is one thing. And trying to work 40 dogs, whether you're taking them out to play or you're taking them out to shoot a gun to teach them to retrieve, that's a lot of dogs on that particular property. And I feel like Mr. Pierce was correct about just training. She can still train dogs right there without having to go through 2 different buildings and 40 dogs.
All right. Well, I think we're heading this direction, so we will find findings of fact in this case, and I'll offer these 3 up. and then ask for a second. The development of the property in accordance with the proposed conditions will not materially endanger the public health or safety is the fact that we need to find, but the fact is this request complies with all three specific requirements. Time out. Chairman's still learning.
That's good.
Fact, the request complies with all three specific requirements identified in section 21-61 for boarding kennel facilities. Also, the proposed structure is subject to compliance with available building code standards. Finding 2, that the development of the property is in accordance with the proposed conditions will not substantially injure the value of adjoining or abutting property, or the development is a public necessity. Fact, Michael Elam provided a report showing that houses within a 3-mile radius of the request have been appreciating in value, and that proximity to animal services has not decreased sales prices or increased sales times. Third, that the location and character of the development in accordance with proposed conditions will not be in general harmony with the area in which it is located and in general conformity with any adopted county plans. In fact, there are 3 houses within 500 feet of the proposed dog runs and kennels. In fact, no material evidence was presented that the site design will adequately mitigate the noise from the dogs and their outside in the dog runs. I offer those 3 in the form of a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right. All in favor say aye. Aye?
Aye.
Aye? Aye?
For the kennel, for the training.
Yeah, well, we're good with this.
Okay.
So, yeah, all in favor say aye. Aye. All right, then motion to approve or to deny SUPO 3-26. I'll move that we deny. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, any other discussion? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you. All right, thank you very much. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. So the first 2 facts are fine. The third, that location and character does not meet the standard. So,
One of your findings was site plan and mitigation.
request complies with all 3 specific requirements identified in 21-60 for boarding kennel facilities. Development of the property in accordance with the proposed conditions, this is the finding, will not materially endanger. So we agreed with that, correct? I'm going to read it again, okay? We have 3 example findings of fact. Fact 1, the development of the property in accordance with the proposed conditions will not materially endanger the public health or safety. So we either have to agree with that or disagree with that, correct? You got to give me a head wave, yeah? Okay. Fact 1, this request does comply with all 3 specific requirements identified and 2161 for boarding kennel facilities. Second fact, proposed structure is subject to compliance with applicable building code standards. Second finding would necessarily need to be that the development of the property in accordance with the proposed conditions will not substantially injure the value of adjoining or abutting property, or that the development is a public necessity. And Michael Eliam provided information showing that houses within a 3-mile radius of the request have been appreciating in value, and that proximity to animal services had not decreased sales prices or increased sales times. The third finding does fail, and that the location and character of the development in accordance with the proposed conditions will not be in general harmony with the area in which it is located and in general conformity with any adopted county plans. In fact, there are 3 houses within 500 feet of the proposed dog runs and kennels, and no material evidence was presented that the site design will adequately mitigate the noise from the dogs when they are outside in the dog runs. Okay. All right. Everyone wants to leave unless you just want to stay because you're just enthralled with how local government works.
Oh, yeah.
Then you're welcome to stay. Ed, welcome. Thank you, Ed.
Good evening.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to go give her this information about Nina Dix.
Good.
So I'll be brief. You have a resolution in your packet. And before you are going to consider it, I want to give you just an update for kind of the rationale for requesting this assistance. Okay. 3 of the 4 of you guys here tonight have been on the planning board, so I'm not going to belabor the point about what an extraterritorial jurisdiction is, but just for those watching at home, it generally allows municipalities to exercise their zoning rules 1 to 3 miles beyond the city limits, depending on population. Just a little research, they were originally intended for annexation or pre-annexation of properties beyond city limits. And as you know, there's no taxes or no municipal services provided to the folks in the ETJ areas. All the municipalities in Rowan County have an ETJ, except for the town of Landis. You see here this red area surrounding all the gray areas are the municipal ETJ areas. So the reason that we're going to talk about this is that Kannapolis is proposing to rescind their ETJ. And that's going to be these areas in light gray that are outlined in red. It covers over 900 different parcels, and it begins here on the west side of Kannapolis, where West C Street is, continuing north, Enochville Road, further north along Cannon Farm Road, working its way back around to the east. Near 85, you have 22nd Street, Ebenezer, and Moose Road. If those mean something to you, kind of know where those areas are. Tomorrow night, Kannapolis' Planning Board will consider their recommendation to eliminate these areas from being in their zoning jurisdiction with an effective date of June 30th. Typically, the way the statute reads, after that date, Rowan County has 60 days to apply its zoning to those areas. That would put us somewhere around the end of August. Why is that problematic? Well, there's a statute, 160D-601D, which typically is referred to as the down zoning statute, and it prohibits zoning changes that decrease potential uses or density without the written consent of every affected property owner. Said there's over 900 properties affected, and so it'd be really impractical for us to go door to door and get individual consent. So what we're suggesting is that this resolution that you have in your packet be forwarded to Senator Ford for him to sponsor legislation to waive this requirement as it relates to this particular exercise and provide us a 90-day window to establish Rowan County zoning adoption. One of the things I would have said before is that generally Rowan County zoning is going to be less restrictive than municipal zoning, but we can't guarantee that. They've got 4 or 5 different zoning districts and their use table don't match up with ours. And so we feel that trying to adopt adopt Kannapolis' zoning to use in Rowan County's ordinance would sort of be, it defeats the purpose of applying county zoning to the area. So we think the best request is, or best option is to get this legislation sponsored, and we've got some rationale here. The formal request for them to waive or suspend 160D, 601D. As I mentioned, Rowan County will assume all planning, zoning, and development regulation authority, and we also desire to apply our zoning to the relinquished area. Again, this affords us the opportunity to put our zoning in place as opposed to trying to use Kannapolis' zoning for that area. Over 900 parcels are affected, and what we would request tonight is that you guys authorize the chairman to sign the resolution so that we can get a copy to Senator Ford as soon as possible. Any questions?
I don't need to read the whole resolution.
No, you do not need to read
Just
the
the title.
resolution. Yep.
Any questions for Ed?
Why would a municipal area that's growing as much as they are want to get out of zoning?
It's a good question, but I think what their rationale is anything that's going to come in these areas, especially Cannon Farm Road, because of services, they're just going to require them to be annexed. They don't want to probably deal with the enforcement, the permitting of things that are not in their city limits. They don't have an ETJ in Cabarrus County. And the reason why is that I believe Kannapolis was incorporated in '84, and Cabarrus County already had zoning, subdivision, and building inspections in place, and so they couldn't get an ETJ. So based on their population, they were able to do the 1 mile extension into Rowan County without getting county commission approval.
All right. I'll make a motion that we adopt the attached resolution, which is a resolution of the Rowan County Board of Commissioners requesting North Carolina General Assembly waive or suspend the requirements of NC General Statute 160D-601D in connection with the relinquishment of the City of Kannapolis extraterritorial jurisdiction pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 160D-202H. And also authorize me to sign the resolution and then forward the signed resolution to Senator Ford's office. Make that in the form of a motion.
Second.
Some comments?
Yep.
First, I want to say thank you to the Kannapolis City Council for doing this. I hope all of the city councils around Rowan are paying attention and look at doing the same thing. I would love for this board at some point to send a resolution asking the state to eliminate ETJs. I think it's a modern day version of representation or taxation without representation, because you don't live in the city, but they control your property. And so I think I would love to see all of these in North Carolina eliminated. Now, obviously a lot of cities don't want to do that, but I do compliment Kannapolis, and hopefully other municipalities will follow suit.
Thank you, Mike. All right. Any other discussion? All right. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
All right.
Not yet, but it's fund balance policy first. Okay. I don't want you controlling the clicker while I'm up here working. All right. So at the retreat, presented a fund balance policy and a debt policy. Tonight we're just going to talk about the fund balance policy and look at recommended suggestion from staff on what that should look like.
Close that door, TJ. Someone close those doors.
So fund balance is basically our savings account. As you know, it's the money that we've have for our rainy day fund. It's also in fund balance are these 5 categories. And those are established by GASB statement number 54. So there's the non-spendable, which is basically items like inventory, so things that are not liquid cash, right? So those items are in non-spendable. Then there's restricted, and those items are restricted by an outside agency. So grant funds, the amount that we have to keep required for state statute, like it's a large amount that we keep required for state statute. And then there's committed, and committed funds are funds that are committed by board action. So you guys would take action to say that these funds are specifically for this purpose. And then there's assigned fund balance. So those may be items like donations that have been given that have to be used for a specific purpose or something like that. And then unassigned fund balance is basically kind of the discretionary funds that you have to decide how or when they should be used. We have traditionally had a policy that, this fund balance would be used only for one-time capital. We try not to use a ton of fund balance for operating because you want to use it for things that are one-time and not things that are ongoing. You want to try to be able to do that. The purpose of the fund balance policy would be to set a minimum that we want to make sure we keep in the unassigned balance, and then start creating a committed portion for some of these large capital purchases that we have come up from year to year and in our balance. So the recommendation from staff is that we look at the unassigned fund balance to see if it exceeds 20% of the subsequent year's general fund original budgeted expenditures. And I'm going to show you an Excel spreadsheet next to explain how this would work. And then we look at 50% of that difference to move to committed future capital needs. So this is the policy, and that's how it's written out. So let me show you what that would look like for the most recent fund balance that we have. So fund balance is only calculated once a year, and it's in our audit process. So on June 30th, 2025, our unassigned fund balance was this $117 million right here. Okay? To figure out what our 20% threshold is, according to this policy, $216,350,622,350,623 was our original adopted budget in 2026 for expenditures. So 20% of that is the $43 million listed here. So then if you take the unassigned number and subtract out that $43 million, you're at the $74 million is available then, because we want to leave that 20% sitting there in unassigned so that we never fall below that 20% threshold. Then you take 50% of that, we would move this $37 million. So, but this current year, because we're already in this current year, we have 3 projects that are ongoing that we've already used, 3 capital projects that we've already committed fund balance for, so I would recommend that we go ahead and subtract those 3 projects out, which would leave us at this point in time with this $29 million to put into this committed future capital needs project if we were to adopt this policy. And then we're getting ready to go over the budget here in a little bit, just to show you right now it's got a proposed amount of one-time capital of the $17.8 million, which would then leave a balance in this committed capital fund of $11,453,576. So if this policy were to be adopted. And it would take board action to move that money into this committed category. It would also take board action to uncommit this money if we would need it for something else and need to uncommit it. But it could be done with board action. So any questions? I think it's a lot easier to understand the policy when you see the example than just reading it for the words.
So let me ask then,
okay,
because I read through this and I just added a few words. So
okay,
to read from point 4, excess. If you'll bring, can you bring
yep.
that up? Excess fund balance and transfers to capital reserve fund. At fiscal year end, if unassigned fund balance exceeds 20% of the subsequent year's general fund original budgeted expenditures, then 50% of the difference will be committed for future capital needs. And I'd like us to consider adding or debt retirement. Now,
okay,
you may be okay with just leaving it the way it is because we've got a vote to put it in, got a vote to take it out. So we could vote to take it out for debt retirement, but the spirit of the
right.
debt retirement is not in the sentence.
Okay.
So unless you guys think differently, I'd like to consider adding or debt retirement in there.
So, yeah, let me think for a second. So any debt we would have would be for capital, right? Is there other debt that we have that's not capital related?
It would be prior debt that we've acquired.
So they are for capital items, but some of our debt is for schools, which are not really our capital assets necessarily, right? I mean, after they're paid for, correct. They go back to the school system once they're paid for. So
for us to buy them a second time.
So
I mean, that would be one, I mean, it is a capital expenditure, but it's just a little bit different because we finance for the schools, yes. Yeah. But go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, so the next policy that we'll bring before the board will be the debt service policy. We could incorporate that in the debt service policy.
I'm fine with that. It was a talking point.
Exactly.
To discuss.
Yes, yes.
So if we'd like to wait until the next policy is brought to discuss, then I'm fine with that.
Okay. Absolutely.
So are we being asked to pass this fund balance policy tonight?
So, yeah, so the action would be to pass this fund balance policy unless you have any changes to it.
When will the other be brought to us? At the next meeting?
If that's when you would like to see it, we can work on that.
We're sure you have nothing to do.
I know, right?
I mean, what's the plan?
We hadn't really discussed when that was going to come next, like timing of that, but I mean, it's definitely, we did propose that at the retreat, so it's in process, so I don't think it would take much to probably get that where it needs to be to bring back. But
does the fund balance policy, you anticipating us pass it, and does it throw a monkey wrench in it if we don't pass it tonight?
If it's not passed by the end of the fiscal year, then it could have effect on the audit. So it doesn't have to be done tonight.
I was just wondering, could we bring both policies? So we
like next meeting
this, we get your explanation.
Okay. Yeah.
We're able to take a look at it, and then just you bring the next policy and we vote on both of them. Again, it's a talking point. If y'all are ready to pass this tonight, I'm fine with that.
I'm good either way.
I don't have a problem with adding stuff off.
All right, well
Adding
then,
what you want.
well, let's get a motion to pass this tonight then.
Make a motion to approve.
Okay.
Second.
Motion is second. Any other discussion, Mike? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, thanks.
Okay.
We had planned for this presentation to be about 2 hours, but I'll try to make it a little.
Just put it on another meeting. It's too late to start.
No, it should be fairly brief.
Or like one guy said, Craig left because he was happy.
So it's my pleasure and honor to submit to you the entire budget that you have in front of you. The budget is being recommended in accordance with the Local Government Fiscal Control Act, and it is balanced. The original budget from 2026 was $216,350,623. The requested budget for this year was $385,207,323, which was a 78% increase, or $168,856,700 increase. The recommended budget is $246,960,509, which is a 14.15% increase, or $30,609,886 increase. And I'll just skip ahead a little bit so you're not on edge for so long. Almost 18 million of that is for capital. So one-time capital.
Out of reserves.
Yes. So back to the revenue, the property tax rate will remain at 58 cents. The tax collection rate remains the same as 2026 at 98%. The 2027 projected tax base is $22,390,000,000. That's a 5.49% increase compared to the tax base of $21,225,000,000, which is an increase in tax base year over year of $1,165,000,000. The sales tax, the recommended number makes up $42,900,000, which is 17% of the general fund. This is still 3.6% less than the 2025 actuals, which means this is very conservative, even though it shows a fairly large increase percentage-wise. That's because we've been conservative year after year, and we're kind of catching up a little bit, but we're still projecting it under what the actuals were in 2025. And so this chart demonstrates that. If you look at 2025, we brought in $44,502,000 in sales tax. We're projecting this year to bring in $44,600,000, which that is, how much is that over what we budget 40 flat last year? So the 2.9 million that we're projecting as an increase for this year is still less than what we're projecting we're going to bring in this year. The recommended department fees to be increased are emergency services, Parks and Rec, and the health department. This is in the general fund. Now, when we get to the other budgets, Anna is going to present the fee increase for environmental management, which is the landfill. So the one-time capital items in this budget is $509,000 for the courthouse water damage. That's an estimate. The train tracks and station, that's for the expanded Train tracks is an additional $500,000. The therapeutic park is $5 million. Nature center improvements is $5 million. The EMS South Station is $525,459, and that is not the exact amount. At the last minute, we use this as a measure to balance some of the budgets. So without
You not
changing,
put the pennies on it.
well, without changing the whole book, we use that and decrease it a small amount. So that is not the exact amount. And I'll point out that the therapeutic park, the nature center improvements, and the EMS South Station may or may not even be done in the next year, depending on how things progress. The staff parking fence at the community center and the Board of Elections equipment is $101,640, and Parks and Recreation equipment is $174,167. So of the $30 million that's being used to balance this budget, $17,860,266 is one-time capital expenses. And back to Anna's presentation earlier, if this budget is approved with this, that leaves about $11 million in our new, well, it was adopted, so in our newfound fund balance policy, we'll have approximately $11 million left for one-time capital expenses. So the budget recommends using $33,550,392 to balance the budget, $17,860,266 one-time capital, and $15,690,126 is reoccurring expenses. Now, there are some big-ticket items in there that are not as reoccurring as some things may be, such as the mass unit at EMS. And we are buying we're buying more sheriff's vehicles than I think we've probably ever bought in the history of the county at one time. And that's due to the SROs. We debated on whether putting some of that in one-time capital and decided we would leave it in the operational part of the budget. The budget also includes a contingency of $500,000, which you know what that means. That's money that can be spent on anything throughout the year or as you're debating through the budget process that can be added to certain line items without changing the entire budget.
Wanted to just briefly expand on what you said. SROs is our not necessarily sheriff, but we did a study, and they came back and said you've got to put security in our elementary schools, and we don't dare not do that. So a huge part of this new budget is funding those safety officers in the elementary schools, but also when Aaron says we're buying more vehicles than we've ever bought, it's because we have to provide vehicles for those. So when you see a big expenditure like this, you know, it's not going for the almond joy that I have here in case I'm going hungry. It's for some big stuff that's happening.
So,
Good God.
So I didn't know that next slide was coming. But there you have it.
Yeah, I think it speaks for itself.
Preacher gone, or is he still here? Oh, he left. He knew it was coming.
So that was a lot that was requested for vehicles, but there's a lot being spent for vehicles this year. 44 vehicles now. I'll just go over those quickly. The community center, 1 vehicle. Facilities, 2 vehicles. Tax assessor, 1 vehicle. Inspection, 2 vehicles. Emergency services is 7 vehicles, and if you divide 1.9 by 7, you know, that doesn't really add up if you're buying Ford 150s, and that's not necessarily what we're buying. There's 2 ambulances in there, and there are 2 remounts, and then that would leave 2 QRVs and 1 fire inspection vehicle. Is that right, TJ? So, and also the MASH unit, which is something for all the fire departments in Rowan County.
It recharges their backpack air thing, so at the scene.
And the sheriff is 26 vehicles. That's $2,042,868. Environmental health, 1 vehicle. Parks and Rec, 2, and animal services, 2, which brings you to a total of 44 vehicles at $4,420,616. And like I said, going back to this, to balance the budget, the 15 million number, you know, almost 4 million of that is vehicles, which are capital, but we're not listing them as a one-time capital. So normally what you see with the sheriff's vehicles is about 15 a year. And so this is 11 more than what we would normally purchase. So positions requested, there was 84 new positions requested, totaling $9,169,000, and 10 upgrades totaling $117,000. There's no upgrades in the budget. Here's the recommended positions: 23 full-time, totaling $2 million, almost $2.7 million. Deputy County Manager, 1. Director of Communications, 1. 4 new paramedics for the South Rowan Quick Response Vehicle, and that is in preparation of the full ambulance service that will be down there in the future for the South Rowan EMS base station. You see an asterisk out beside. 1 asterisk means it's only funded through half the year, which means the position will be filled sometime after January. 2 asterisk means they're grant-funded positions that are being made locally funded. Emergency services, 1 fire inspector. And so here we get to the school resource officers. So this includes 11 school resource officers for the county. 9 of those will be in schools that are not in municipal limits. 2 will be in the city of Salisbury. We've met with the municipalities, and this seems to be the way that the municipalities wanted to do it, and Salisbury wanted us to provide the officers in the elementary schools, the 2 that are inside the municipal corporate boundaries of the city of Salisbury. Then there'll be 2 sergeants and 1 lieutenant. And I'm going to come back to the SROs in a second, but real quick, the treatment court management, the treatment court coordinator for veteran services, both of those are grant funded, and this is making them totally locally funded positions. So the SROs, the total cost for putting elementary SROs into every school is $3,491,954. That is the total number of positions. You see the number there, 1.9 million. 14 vehicles, 1.1 million. And then what the next bullet is the 450 in SRO appropriations. We're appropriating that to to the school system, but the school system has agreed to turn around and appropriate that plus grant funding to the other municipalities who will have municipality law enforcement officers that are sworn law enforcement officers for those municipalities that will place the SRO officers in their school. So I think the grant funding was around 44,000 per.
They currently get 44,000 per middle school officer.
Yep.
So they're assuming that they will get that same amount
From the Fed,
elementary
yeah.
when they apply for the grants.
And so that's what we're hoping that we'll get. And if that happens, we will get, I don't believe we get it for the sergeants or the lieutenants. So you take 3 minus 14 is 11 times 44 is the revenue we should receive back from the school system on the SRO officers we're providing. And this is a very important thing for the community to have a full-time SRO in every elementary school. We currently have one in the high schools and the middle schools. We've had part-time SROs in the elementary schools, but this is something new for the county, and it's something I think the community will be proud of, is knowing that that every school in Rowan County will have a full-time SRO officer.
That's Aaron, from what you piggyback on you there. So it doesn't mean that there's no officers there now. It's just the consistency of having one there every day hasn't always been there just because of schedules. Most of it's through off-duty time. So this will make sure that there's always somebody there during the school year.
The next thing that this budget incorporates, which is about $350,000, is that, Kelly, 350 plus benefits, is the pay study that the board was presented with recently. And this is basically what this applies to every county employee except the county manager and the county attorney and anybody that's in public safety. That's because public safety got it last year. And so how this will work, like we learned when the study was presented, if you've been in your position less than 3 years, no adjustment, 3 to 4 years, 1%, 5 to 8, 2, 9 plus would get 3%. And in addition to that, there are 47 positions that are having a grade changed in this budget. Do you have something to say?
So this is how the grade changes are happening, correct? This is not each employee will get this amount?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't understand that part. Thank you for clarifying that. Yes, gotcha.
What about me, 14 years getting nothing?
So the budget also includes a 3% COLA effective July 1st. This is approximately $2,429,700. If the budget's approved, this shall apply to every employee and official, including seasonal, part-time, temporary, elected, appointed, not limited to the, shall include but is not limited to the Board of Commissioners, County Attorney, Manager, Clerk, to the Board, the Sheriff, Register of Deeds, Health Board, Social Services Board, the Board of Education, and the Elections Board. Cooperative Extension contracted employees will receive a 3% COLA increase on the county portion of their pay only.
Go back. Can commissioners be exempted from that?
Yeah, they are.
Didn't say. It says
They're not exempted from this.
But can we be?
They can be if they request to be.
I want back pay.
It
don't matter to me.
The commissioners make such a small amount anyway, but
I know, but
what it does, the reason we recommend this is it helps keep the commissioners in line with the other counties, so you're not, 10 years from now, you're not having to make sweeping changes.
Can individual commissioners?
Yes, sir. They can opt out. The next slide is this budget recommends a 3.2% increase, or $121,752 to the Rowan Cabarrus Community College. In addition, we have the debt service payment for the GO bond. The estimates for ADM provided by the school systems, RSS is projecting to lose 269 students, Kannapolis City School to lose 104, and the charter schools to gain 14. The budget recommends, and we show the ADM to show you that based on what the budget's recommending, it's almost a 10% increase in per pupil funding for this coming fiscal year. The Rowan Salisbury Schools recommended budget increase is $2,640,176, almost 6%, and that was one of the top priorities of the commissioners in the retreat, is to move the local supplement for certified teachers from 9% to 12%. So that would be a 3% increase for the local supplement for the certified teachers. And then Kannapolis City School is $36,826, or 1%, and the charter schools is $498,294, or 10%.
So someone needs to explain that, where we get, what?
I'll do my very best.
this
Schools
is a math issue.
Exactly, yes.
Right, it's not,
yes.
okay.
So because the ADM is going down, even though we're giving them more money, the way it gets split by that ADM amount, a larger percentage ends up going to those charter schools of what's happening, because that enrollment is growing and the other enrollments are decreasing. So, I mean, it just...
And we don't give it to the charter school. It actually goes
to the Rowan Salisbury schools and Kannapolis City schools, and they give it to the charter schools.
So can you go to the next slide then?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So this public schools getting 2.6, charter schools 5, but it's 10.1 because their budget's much lower.
Their budget's much smaller, so that increase of the $498,000 is a much bigger percent of their budget. Yes. And Kannapolis is a much smaller percentage of the school
We only
budget,
have
too.
2 schools we pay on that, isn't it?
You pay by pupils, so it's not.
But there's only 2 schools that we're paying on.
No,
They
they
have
have Rowan County students in every one of their schools.
Really?
Yes, I did check on that.
Okay.
'Cause when we were asking about the SRO situation, I did ask that, and there is a Rowan County student in every school in their system, at least. Yeah.
So if they're for the charter school, if they go to one of these, if it's accredited online charter in, say, Buncombe County, then we would send money up to Buncombe County.
That's how the school system is required. The money follows the student. So if the student is a resident of Rowan County, they can go to school in Charlotte, and that money follows the student. That's how that works. So don't assume that all that money is going to Faith Academy, who is our charter school right here in our county. Not all those students are going to Faith Academy. I'm sure a large portion of them are, but not all of them are. We're sending money outside of the county for those charter students.
Greystone or others?
Assuming it's a charter school and not just, they have to be charter, not private.
So that concludes the general fund presentation. Here are the other funds.
I had a question.
Oh, sorry.
Hey, on the employee, the increase for employees, the 3% was for all, that would be all the public safety would fall under that 3%?
Everybody.
And do we still have longevity, or is that gone?
No, we still have longevity.
So they would also get that?
Yes.
Everybody would get that?
Everybody gets the longevity.
Yes.
In January.
In
January?
Yeah, longevity's in January now.
Well, everybody but the county attorney. And the county manager.
We'll have to fix that.
Any other general fund questions? Okay.
So,
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I got a question. Last year's budget, we put in there that we were gonna redo that facility for the Board of Elections to store their equipment. That ain't been done yet.
no, currently that space is being used as a,
Training facility.
no, for the construction that they're doing, that's the only way in and out.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, it's the emergency service entrance.
Yeah.
Well, what's the date of when that's gonna take place? They've already taken down the storefront, went inside, took everything out. When are we gonna upfit it like we said in this last budget?
It'll have to wait until the health department section is completed.
Till that building's complete,
Yes,
in and out.
yes.
Okay, just wanna know.
You ready?
I'm ready if you are.
Okay.
You got anything you want to?
Well, this is this is all the other funds, and we can go over each one, but the main ones that I asked Anna to touch on tonight is the fire district funds and the landfill fund.
Yeah, I'm happy to talk about any of the others if you would like for me to. But on the fire district fund, so there's 3 fire districts that are asking for a rate increase. So that's the main thing that I wanted to point out in those. They're Ellis Cross, Enochville, and Franklin Township. Ellis is asking to go from 8.5 cents to 12, which would generate about $90,000 for them. Enochville is asking to go from 8 cents to 12, which would generate $201,697 for them. Franklin is asking to go from 9 to 12, and that would generate $182,644,000 for them. Our current rates fall between, remember now, I know it goes to 13 cents, so 12 cents is not the highest fire district rate that we would have, so it would still be below to write that down, and I forgot.
Are you looking for it?
Right here. So they go from 5.5 cents to 13 cents is the range that we currently have for our fire districts in the county.
Well, why are we giving 2 fire departments 2 miles apart from each other money? That's what I want to know. What do they need to go from 8 to 12%, 12 or 13%, when they're literally you can see them from each other's driveways? I mean, what are we doing with fire stations that close together? If they need that kind of money, close one of them.
I mean, I haven't looked in here, but usually there's a letter in here for why they wanted it. So
I read it, but they always got some reason. I understand that Ellis, I was there the other day, they're wanting to start using it as a full-time facility, which means they need to add on to the building, put in sleeping space, shower space, and all those things. I'm okay with doing it for Franklin, but Ellis is a metal building.
Yeah,
it's not a fire station.
Yeah, the only one of those 3 that I've talked to are the Enochville people. Their plan is to have somebody at the station 24 hours a day because they,
Well, that's what Franklin's had for quite some time. They pay it out of their monies they get from the taxpayers to have somebody there covering the fire station continuous. Ellis does not have that.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
So I think we need to look at that because both of those stations service my house. So I want to make sure they are equipped. But I'm just saying that weren't we talking about at one time doing some type of consolidation? I know everybody backs off because they're afraid they won't get reelected, but at some time we need to have something done with our fire department.
Well, I know we don't want to have a long discussion about that tonight, but.
No, not
They're
tonight,
all-
but
they're
we need
all-
to have a discussion with it
They
soon.
need to start talking to each other about that. That's not really something we push because they're all individual nonprofit corporations. And so they need to say, hey, I can't make it, let's merge.
Well,
But,
it's time we did something,
yeah.
instead of talking about it.
There's several small ones on our way, and
Yeah.
they've had a lot of discussion about that in the past, about doing it. But, you know, a lot of folks take pride in their
Well, sure they
volunteer
do. It's
fire
a,
department.
yeah, I understand that. It's a community effort. I get it. But I want to make everybody safe. I want to keep their taxes low. I can't do both doing that.
Right? Is that it?
Okay, on fire districts, that was just making sure you guys recognize the rate changes that were being requested was the main item for those. I did want to just touch real quickly on the Farmland Preservation Fund, so that this is going to be the first year that there will be a budget ordinance for that fund. And I talked with Casey and Chip, and the revenue that we bring in that fund ranges widely from year to year. So I just put an estimated number in there. I have no idea if that will be anywhere close to what we will bring in, or if it's way too high. Like it varies from year to year. So it's really, truly just an estimate until this fund gets kind of going for a little while and we can see some trends maybe. So landfill. So, and I've asked Craig to be prepared just in case we have questions that I'm not able to completely answer, but their rate change that we are asking for is to increase the Rowan County fee by $5, the Davie County fee by $5. So we would go from $41 to $46 per ton, and $44 to $49 per ton. The other counties, we're asking to go from $46 per ton to $60 per ton for anybody outside of those two areas. The reason for some of that was just looking at comparable counties around us. So currently, according to when Craig and them checked rates, Charlotte Mech is at $100 per ton. High Point is at $48 per ton. I think Lincoln was at $50 per ton. Cabarrus is at $54 per ton, and Iredale is at $46 per ton. So that would put us, the 46 that we're asking to go to puts us within reason of all those other counties, still on the lower end of all those other counties.
Let me say, we need to go
Yes,
higher.
yes.
One thing we're concerned about, when I pushed Craig and Anna to go higher, is that are we going to go so high that it decreases the amount of trash we get? So we're going to try 46, and if the trash stays steady, then next year we'll try to go up again. But there's a point to where if we charge too much, we're going to start losing customers, and we've got to figure out what that point is.
And you got to stay sustainable, right? So you need the customers to keep the landfill running, but at the same time, you don't want everybody else bringing their trash to us, which is why we were looking at the $60 per ton for the outside of the county.
And this all sounds very strange to the general public, but the landfill is what's called an enterprise fund.
Correct.
So if it costs $100,000 a year to run the landfill, and you raise the rates to the point to where you were bringing in 105, which the statute says you have to break even at least,
self-sustaining,
right?
correct, yes.
If you raise it too much and now you bring in 90, we're in trouble.
Correct.
So if we're thinking, well, why would we care if we decrease trash? Isn't that a good thing? Well, on one hand, it could be. It lengthens the life. Right. Anyway.
I think they're describing the Laffer curve.
Not everyone will get that. I appreciate the attempt.
So some other, this budget does ask to use $2.9 million to balance the landfill budget this year. A lot of that is related to the $3.2 million we just approved recently for that dirt hauling contract to get through next year's budget, hoping that this rate increase will help build those funds back up, and because we do have a lot of future capital items coming up for the landfill, and so we're going to have to get that, really look at that rate and see where we need to be at and make sure that we're sustaining, like you said, that level of business, I guess, because it is an enterprise fund, to keep that fund sustainable.
I only have one question.
Okay.
We appreciate our friends in Davie County, but
Yes.
why are they getting a break?
Now that, I guess it's just how that rate structure
Greg,
has
you
been
don't live
set
in
up.
Davie
I know,
County, do
I'm
you?
not sure what, we don't know, I don't know why that was, is it? Yes, yes.
It's the way we've always done it.
Yes, and that's a terrible, terrible answer. I did talk to Craig today to see about looking into if he could tell how much Davie was actually bringing to us versus possibly, and you weren't able to find that? Okay, so we are going to do some research on that.
Does
We can maybe
Davie
bring
have its
that
own
back.
landfill?
They do not. They
So
close.
they're filling ours up for the same, okay, that's not going to happen. So.
When
need
we
to-
looked at the tonnage, though, yeah, that'd be great. Yeah,
Yeah, I
I
mean,
think when
it's-
we looked at the tonnage in the CIP, it's not. Yeah.
Davey, so all the landfills below us charge extremely more. Just talked to the guy that was here before me, and they're going up to like 65 a ton.
Oh, Bobby, don't go anywhere yet. You.
Forsyth is quite a bit lower. They're at like 30, I think they're going to 39.
I think that's what
Well, my-
That's
my-
the split where Davey might decide just to go to Forsyth, and then we'd have to come up with that fund. I've talked to their directors.
Okay,
We're
so
going to try
that's
to
the-
get together, and I want to look at their funds and see what they're doing. They've also said they've got about 3 years before they're going to run out of borrowed material dirt, so they don't have to start buying it too. So it's just the cost of the equipment, the cost of operations of every piece of equipment that landfill has doubled since 2000.
What's been the effect with the cost of fuel going up?
That's
the big
quite a
part.
bit too, yeah, because those pieces of equipment, they burn a lot of fuel.
What, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot because you may not know offhand, but we're talking about, are we talking about, the big trash trucks that come and dump in so the individual citizen that goes to convenience center, like what percentage of that is our budget?
I don't know the percentage. It's not a whole lot. We don't really make much money at all.
Yeah.
We actually lose money at every convenience site.
And so, okay. And so we're not going up on those rates.
No.
And I don't know what it's like now, because I haven't been to, I usually just go out to the one Woodleaf, and I go out there and it's pretty consistent.
Yeah.
But when I go to the other ones, it's sort of like, $3, I don't know, $12. It's
They
not-
eyeball it, yeah.
Yeah, so
I hate
why
that.
is there not a set? Cash. Yeah, what is?
Well, there is, they weigh them at each one of our sites, and then they kind of eyeball, this is a truckload, and this is half a truckload, and we just have to trust our employees that they're making fair judgments. We try to err on the side of being lenient to the citizen.
Right. So there's not a way to just say it's, show up with a pickup truck, it's $5.
They do, yeah, but there's different quantities in there. Some pickup trucks and trailers are much bigger.
Go back to Woodleaf now, they won't take a single pickup truck in the big dumping area. You have to go to the.
Yeah, I usually go to the convenience side,
And that's where they eyeball it. They figure that it's not enough trash per load.
Yeah,
There's a $10 minimum, which is in the Woodleaf side. They're just making up a rate, which is all right.
Most counties I've seen that has the convenience fee that applies to folks in non-municipal areas, and that's how they charge it. It's like a flat fee, and then you just bring what you want to there, as long as it's a resident, not a commercial vehicle.
Because and when we went through this several years ago, and my memory's not what it was. seems like every day it gets worse. But, and I know you weren't here then, but we had discussed like some other counties, and they just have stickers.
That's it.
And I think Lincoln County, for instance, if you're a resident, you get a sticker, and you don't pay anything, you just go dump it in there. But I can't remember why.
Is it on their tax?
Yeah,
They put it on their
They
tax.
pay on their tax bill.
Oh, do they?
Well, I don't know if that particular county does, but a lot of counties have the sticker. You get the sticker, well, when you pay your taxes, you get the sticker in the mail. It may even go out with the tax bill, but you're expected when you pay the tax bill that you pay an extra solid waste fee for recycling center.
Okay.
I mean, we want people to bring them to our sites instead of throwing them on the side of the road, so any way to encourage and make it easy, we try to do that.
Okay. Yeah, you know, like I say, if you can send me some of that information, I'd be interested in looking at what.
Be glad to.
You know, how much our citizens still use the convenience center, because I know when we closed the one, we thought we were going to get a lot of grief, and then we didn't really get any, so.
They kind of diverted, I think, to some of the other sites, and I think they opened them a little bit longer than they were open before.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Any other questions?
So happy to discuss any of the other ones, but those were the ones Aaron had asked me to be prepared to answer questions on.
On the ARPA funds, is that the money we have in unrestricted fund balance?
So no, ARPA funds are in their own bucket in the audit, and so they're not part of that unrestricted fund balance number. No. And because we expect to, because we've moved it to its own bucket, there's only going to be, and potentially we're going to pay that $100,000 out pretty soon. That's related to the broadband that happened in the county, and so that money's set aside for that piece, and Randy's trying to get that invoice from the state so we can get that paid. So it potentially will get paid, but I just don't know the timing of that yet, so that's why I left that in for next year's budget.
Okay. Anything else on that?
Thank you.
You doing financial or not? I can wait. Yeah, let's wait.
No problem.
All right. Board is asked to enter into closed session pursuant to General Statute 143-318-11A1 to consider approval of minutes of the closed session held on November 17, 2025, and pursuant to 143-318-11A3 to consult with an attorney. Make that in the form of a motion. We have a second.
Second.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.